can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness turns tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces turn stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces turn.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I have another open. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I just got a text message from the store that I worked last night. They want me to come back again. But then my store asked me to come in today. I should have waited for the other store, right? The one that I like. Dang on it. Dang. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm back, y'all. Hey, yes, I have decided to keep doing this to my hair, keep it like looking decent. Keep it looking decent. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so I want to play this for you guys. This news report in regarding to the case with Keefe D in his upcoming trial for the unaliving of Tupac, right? And one of the things that happened, he wrote a book in 2019, and I listened to the book in 2022. After listening to the book, I was like, this dude basically ratted on himself and the people that he was with as far as Tupac's case. And lo and behold, a few months later, boom, he gets arrested. Because I was like, he's basically confessing to taking part of unaliving Tupac, right? So I am going to play this, and then we're going to go ahead on and talk about the book and have you guys listen to the book. Okay? Hold on a second. Let me just go ahead and pull up the news article that talks about how that is going to be part of the case. Hold on a second. Trying to pull it up. My bad. I should have had it ready. Don't talk about me. I know y'all ready to run your mouth and say something negative, but I had it on my email and I sent it to myself so you guys can listen to it. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead on and play this. Hold on. All right, here we go. There we go, guys. There we go. There we go. We're gonna all right, can you guys see it? All right, here we go. Let's put up the copyright disclaimer first before I start playing it. Let's do this. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. And this does not belong to me. This is from the ABC, Channel 2, what's that, Channel 8? News Now investigator, and also the book from Keefe D. All right. All right, here we go.
Exclusive before one of the biggest trials in Las Vegas history. A sit-down interview with the man accused in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Daune Keefe D. Davis speaking with investigator Vanessa Murphy. A quick note, our team was not allowed to put a microphone on Davis due to security. That's why we've included subtitles.
The trial surrounding the murder of rap legend Tupac Shakur nearly 30 years ago is just days away. We were given the rare opportunity to sit down with the man at the center of it all, Daune Keefe D. Davis, face to face while he waits here in jail. Did you have anything to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I wasn't even in the matter. I wasn't in the matter, period.
Do you regret the book and the interview?
Yeah, I was just after the money, and they said I was covered. I did it for the money. You know what I'm saying?
You heard what he said. He said he wrote the book for the money. He said he wrote the book for the money, but they ain't gonna tell you he didn't write the book. They gave him a transcript, and basically he got $150,000 for the allowing them to publish the book.
And
But did anyone tell you maybe it's not a good idea to do that because they might arrest you after they hear you say that or read it in your book? Like, did anyone close to you say, not a good idea?
That was the ghostwriters. I didn't write that book. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about no Winston Churchill, Frank Sinatra. Just read the book. You know I didn't write that book. You know what I'm saying? And the black thing, the lady, she gave me $150,000.
But then when I was watching the interview this week, and the way you sort of go through it by play, like then this happened, it's very believable.
They wrote me a script to follow. My lawyer came with the script. It seemed like he was in bed with them the whole time.
When you were talking in this interview about Tupac's murder, and when you were doing this book, were you considering maybe his family at all?
No, I just did it for the money. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to feed my family. You know what I'm saying? And it's wrong. It's just wrong. I'm an innocent man. And they said, yeah, Chris, I haven't been around that stuff since like 89. I stopped that stuff, pulled up my pants. I'm not no leader, no Crips, or none of that stuff. That's wrong. They just try to make their case look good or something. He's a leader of the Crips. He's way up there in the Crips. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? There's no color line. I'm messing with Bloods, Crips, everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was just the leader of the Crips. I helped to like get that record company together. You know what I'm saying? And why would I kill the guy that's making us the most money? You know what I'm saying? That's a rapper back then. Why would I kill our money like that? It don't make sense. So I'm not gonna tell you that I didn't do it. So.
Has the DA's office offered you any plea deals, and would you consider a plea deal?
I'm not gonna take no plea deal because I didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 63, I had a cancer battle, and I got 3 stents to my heart. And the average American lives to like 74 years old. 10 years, I'm dead. So what I don't like taking a deal, you know what I'm saying? I heard it was like something 10 and 25. I'm not gonna do that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna take a deal like that. And I have. Especially after I haven't done nothing. I'm an innocent man.
How concerned are you that you'll be convicted after this trial and you won't get to spend your final years with your family?
Yeah, I think the Ninth Circuit Court is gonna let me go. I think they're gonna let me go because it's not right. I'm gonna be all right though. Because God upstairs, he got me. He know I am this. Yeah, and I hate I put my family in jeopardy like this. So that's one regret I have.
Jury selection is scheduled for August 10th. Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
Davis is now represented by defense attorney Michael Samft, who was not originally representing him. The 8 News Now investigators interviewed Samft. You can find that on our 8 News Now Plus app.
Okay, so now we're going to start listening to the book, and you tell me what you think, because when I listened to the book, I listened to it back in 2022, and I was like, this dude basically confessed that they were part of this whole thing. They did it. He said it. He said, he told, yes. Hold on, y'all. I'm about to get a spot. Okay, sorry, y'all. That was Dallas. Well, anyway, as I was saying, after I listened to the book, I was like, this dude basically confessed that they took part of unaliving Tupac. And since majority of the other ones are dead, he's the only one that's really left to suffer the consequences of the actual for the actual death, the trial. So to me, from my personal experience, from my personal view, there's nobody else's view, I believe that since the judge is allowing the book to be put into evidence, he's going down. That's my personal opinion. Okay, I'm just giving you my personal opinion on this. Because since the book is being used, and this book, when I tell you, it's so damaging, it's somebody gotta take the fall for this. And he's stupid for even, getting that $150,000. All that money was not a good thing. So y'all ready to listen to it, guys? Y'all ready to hear it? I'm gonna go in between it because this is gonna be used as fair use, so we're gonna talk in between it. So if you want the book, you can go purchase it, but we're going to listen to the book here. If he was in the car, Miss Torres. He was in the car. All of them was in the car. He talked about him being in the car, and the one that supposedly is the one that shot him, he's deceased. That guy is deceased already. The one who actually did the shooting. But, he's accessory to the crime. He was in it. You know what I'm saying? You know how somebody that has be the driver for the getaway car of a bank robbery, they hold that person responsible as well because they knew it was going to happen. He knew that the case, he could have told a long time ago. He decided to put it in the book afterwards. So, he's going to be found guilty. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. He was in there. He was in the car. He was in the car, and he had a weapon. We don't know if his weapon is the one that actually did it, but he said the other guy is the one that he was in the car. He said he saw Tupac. He saw them turning. He saw him having the Tupac was waving to the fans, and when they saw him, they got the gun, and they saw Tupac reaching down. Y'all gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it. I'm gonna let y'all hear the whole thing. Hold on. He talks about it. It is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Yeah, he should have took the plea deal. Maybe he might decide to take the plea afterwards. But he said he's gonna die anyway, so maybe that's his part of confession and getting it off his conscience. After 30 years, he's just getting it off his conscience. He wrote the book in 2019. And it was crazy. I'm telling you, as soon as I heard the book, I was like, what? This dude just basically and a few months later, what I said came to pass. I was like, this dude basically confessed. It's like, come on now. Why would you do that? Well, sometimes if the conscience bother you about something, hold on a second, let me get it set. Okay, you guys ready? Let's get it going. I'm going to stop it in between and talk to you guys, okay?
Compton street legend. Notorious Keefe D's street-level accounts of Tupac and Biggie murders, death row origins, Suge Knight, Puffy Combs, and crooked cops. Written by Keefe D with Yusef Jah.
Can y'all hear it? Do you guys hear it well? Did you hear the introduction well? Give me a 1 if you can hear it well. Give me a 1 if you can hear it well. Thank you, Sparkle. All right, you guys, story time. Story time. Let's get going.
Narrated by Yusef Jah. Compton Street Legend. Introduction. Many people will pick up this book for its celebrity value. It's true that my gangster lifestyle has led me to cross paths with some of the biggest names in the history of hip-hop. Tupac Shakur, Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace, Sean Puffy Combs, and Marion Suge Knight, resulting in a massive collision with fatal consequences. I mourn, like millions of others, the loss of two hip-hop giants, Tupac and Biggie, and the impact their losses had on their families and fans. My reality, however, doesn't allow me to give a fuck about the celebrity aspect of this story. Never have and never will. What I do care genuinely about and hold in high esteem are the values of love, family, unity, brotherhood, loyalty, trust, and honor. That is what this story is about. It's been more than 20 years since the premature yet understandable deaths of Tupac and Biggie occurred. Premature because as talented and influential as both men were, they were killed long before either of them had a chance to reach their full potential. Understandable because in the streets, and I've lived a gangster lifestyle for most of my life, there's a strict code that real niggas live, kill, and die by.
You heard him, right? He's part of the gangster. So live, kill, and die by, right? That's what he said.
Pac's and Biggie's deaths were direct results of that code violation and the explosive consequences when the powerful worlds of the streets, entertainment, and crooked-ass law enforcement collide. In the past couple of years, there have been several TV specials, documentaries, newspaper and magazine articles, and numerous websites dedicated to the subject of who killed Biggie and Tupac. But at the end of the day, none of the private investigators, retired police officers, informants, hip-hop heads, actors, or academics who have weighed in on the topic know what happened and the reasons behind it. None of them were there. I'm one of the only living eyewitnesses to Tupac's killing.
Did you hear him say that? He is the only living witness to Tupac's killing. Did you hear that? Does that sound like a confession to you, y'all? Does that sound like a confession to you? He's the only living one that is the witness to Tupac's killing. Because he was there. He was in the car. Wait till you hear it. Hey, Nika, just wait till you hear it, y'all. Because I know folks was on the internet saying, "No, y'all, did y'all hear the book?" I listened to the whole book, y'all. I heard the whole book. It's a 4-hour book that I listened to. We're gonna break it up into two hours each. But it sounds like a confession, right? This dude, he just made himself. I promise you, in the courtroom, when the jurors listen to that part, I'm telling you, wait till the detail. He's very detailed in exactly what happened, the timing and why it happened and the blah, 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 everything right there in the book. He wrote it in 2019.
Also knows the much larger story around the reasons why both Tupac and Biggie were killed. I was considered a prime suspect in both the Biggie and Tupac killings for years. I know the real fucking story. I admittedly lived most of my life as a gangster, a real gangster that did all the shit that real gangsters do.
Did you hear that part? He lived a life of a real gangster. But in that interview you just heard with the news people, he said he had given that lifestyle up. But in this book in 2019, he said he lived it most of his life. So which one is it? Is it he's saying something different now because he's in jail, and I don't know.
Not the bullshit you see in this generation with everybody faking with all this IG shit. So I'm not trying to paint myself as a fucking saint. I am well aware that I'm a walking miracle. And I thank my Lord for his love, mercy, and grace. I could very easily be sitting in a federal penitentiary in Terre Haute or Marion, shackled with the death penalty, waiting in misery for my name and number to be called. Instead, I finally get the opportunity to tell my side of the story. This process has been
Now you see what I'm talking about, Harlem? Now you see what I'm talking about. Now, y'all, it gets deeper. It gets deeper for real. And it's only a 4-hour book, but it gets deeper. He's gonna be so detailed. He's gonna say where the gun was, who had it, and what side it was, and where Tupac was turning. And I'm telling you, and everybody else is dead now. He's gonna be the fall guy for this whole case. He is going to be the fall guy because he was there. It wasn't like, and he was partaking of this. Okay, so he's going down. Maybe it's his confession, and he wanted to release himself before he died, right? Maybe, and the family will finally get closure in this. But he was the main suspect for a while. But they never. Why didn't they arrested him back then? Who knows? And the dummy wrote a book.
therapeutic for me because I've been carrying this shit with me for all of these years. People out there who play dirty are putting salt on my name, character, and reputation. Yet I am the only one looking dirty in this shit. People judge and develop opinions based on the bullshit they've heard about me without knowing the full story. They don't know what I was up against. The FBI did me like they did to John Gotti, and they're trying to do Donald Trump. They flipped all the bottom feeders underneath me, then came and got me. But when the police that were involved with this case tell their stories, they protect everybody else's identities except mine. The most challenging part about telling this story is that some of the guys who ended up betraying me were the closest friends I had on earth. In fact, some were even members of my own family. I tell my story with utmost confidence because, as Winston Churchill once said, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. I'm a good person who the truth will reveal, saved a lot of lives, and helped a lot of people. I helped Suge. He knows I helped him get on his feet and get death row going from my hard-earned street shit. Then he turned around and tried to disrespect the game. I helped Puffy. He knows I was there for him when he needed help. There's no fucking way he can deny it. He's going to shiver in his boots if he ever sees me. I have a whole gang of dudes from my hood and from Grape Street that can verify and confirm our dealings. I'm not gonna say their names until and unless it's time to mention their names. I want to make one more point super clear. I've seen the little shit some of these punk ass rappers, boxers, and other wannabe tough celebrities have written on the internet talking about their gangsters for Tupac. I want to make it clear that while I've made a lot of changes in my life and heart, I'm not one to play with. You can go up against these streets if you want to, but I guarantee you, you won't win. It's time for me to set the story straight.
Uh-oh.
Gangbanging is male love pushed to its limits. As insane as it may seem, it's all based on love. There's a lot of qualities that these young brothers that you may look down upon have that you don't have. Somebody could come in your house and kill your wife and your children, and you wouldn't do shit. You'd sit on your ass. These brothers aren't having that. A lot of us wish we had it. To the layman, it will look like it's a world based on hate, but it's not. It's based on love. Ice-T, Uprising, Crips and Bloods. Foreshock. Fuck that big homie. We know where them niggas gonna be. They gonna be at Club 662. Their rage was evident, ignited upon learning that my nephew, Baby Lane, had gotten jumped. How y'all know? I calmly asked. Them niggas been on the radio out here for weeks, talking about a death row after fight party at Club 662. That nigga Pac's supposed to be there. Club 662 was a Las Vegas nightclub owned by Death Row CEO Suge Knight. The intelligence was from reliable sources, as some of the younger homies from our set had been stationed in Vegas selling dope. A satellite operation of sorts. All right, homies, I commanded. That's where we're going then. Club 662. As we headed to our vehicles. Southside had not gone down to Vegas thinking about marrying Suge Knight or Tupac Shakur. We were out there to do what we had been doing in Vegas for years. Eat, drink, and be merry. When conversations would come up about $1 million bounty on the heads of Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur, that was business. But after Tupac, Suge, and them death row niggas jumped on my nephew, Baby Lane, the shit became ominously personal. While we were waiting for the valet to bring out our cars, Zip seized the opportunity and called me over to...
You heard it, right? He said once they jumped his nephew, it became personal. Is that a confession of what? Is that a confession of what? It's a retaliation confession. I didn't say it. It's in the book. I didn't say it. It's in the book. I'm not the one making judgment or saying stuff it's in the book. Because according to them, he said the script was written for him and he got $150,000 for the book. Motive. Thank you, Mr. I mean, hello. I'm not the one passing judgment, y'all. I'm listening to the book, just like you guys. This is my third time listening to the book, so I'm going to let you guys continue to listen. But I'm talking in between it because this is copyright material, and I'm using it for fair use. So we have to give credit, and we cannot make it go through. Why, B? Why you in the mud? Why, babe? Why you in the mud? You just ordered the book. Good job. See, they getting sales because I'm playing the book. So most people wouldn't even listen to the book, right? Hello. Most people thought it was just in paperback. Some people don't want to read it in paperback. Thank you, Sparkle, for just ordering the book. Shout out to Sparkle for ordering the book. Those who wants to not hear interruption and want to hear the whole book through, you can purchase the book as well. Okay? But with me, I got to talk in between it because it is copyright material and we're using it for the purpose of commenting, criticizing, news reporting because the trial is coming up, okay? So if you don't want to hear my voice, you probably need to purchase the book yourself, okay?
It was Benz. Zip was a big-time New York player, pimp, and hustler who used to come out to California to handle his business and kick it with us sometimes. As I walked up to the driver's side window, I noticed that the rapper Foxy Brown was in the car with Zip. So he instructed her to step out of the car and motioned for me to jump in. Zip had a hidden compartment that he opened up, reached in, and pulled a black 40 Glock out. He turned to me and said, "It's time to get the money." Zip handed me the 17-shot pistol, which I promptly put down the back waist of my pants. I hopped out of the car, held the door open for...
Do you hear it? Do you hear it? He tell you he got the gun. I mean, how clear than this? Y'all, do you hear him? He said he got the guy gave him the gun. He got the gun. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Foxy Brown to get back in, closed the door, and they pulled off. Get in the car you came in. Let's roll, I shouted as our cars came out from the valet. We left immediately from the MGM parking lot and headed directly to Club 662. I was still appropriately dressed in my Ray Luca crime story suit, since there was about to be a real-life crime story. We pulled into the back parking lot of Club 662, where the talent and VIPs entered. In front of the club, there was a long line of excited, drunk people waiting to enter the club. I planned to confront Suge. Hey, nigga, why the fuck y'all jump on my nephew? The ironic thing is, I had just seen Suge in Vegas the night before the fight. He and members of his death row crew were rolling in their Rolls Royces. We greeted each other and everything. What's up, big dog? What's up? We were both major players in the same game. Suge had the music industry. I had the streets. We both had the same boss. If Suge and them niggas had a beef with something Southside had done, Suge could have said something to me when he saw me that night. Instead, Suge and his boys committed the ultimate disrespect when they kicked and beat down my nephew, Baby Lane, in a video broadcast on news stations seen around the world. In case my diplomatic approach to resolving the situation didn't work, we had 3 vehicles, 3 to 4 people in each, ready to burn their asses up. My crew was do or die. All my young homies had already been shot at least once, so their street experience turned them into some stone cold killers. They had the mentality of, it's either them or me, and it ain't gonna be me. With solemn faces, we waited in complete silence in the back parking lot of Club 662 for more than an hour. Inside our vehicles, nobody took a drink. There was no weed, no music, not a peep. We were as grave as a heart attack. The only thing audible was niggas breathing and tense, throbbing heartbeats. There was no need for words. We all understood why we were there. We went.
Now y'all see what I'm talking about? They're allowing this book inside the court. It's gonna be, oh my God. They're allowing this book to be played in court. Oh my God. Oh, they are allowing the judge allowing this book to be played in court. Now y'all see what I'm talking about. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Even if he is not the one who actually had the bullet to shoot, regardless, he is going to be held responsible. He has had 30 years of freedom. So he's done. He's done. He has had 30 years of freedom, and I guess this is really like bothering him now, and that he wants to confess. Because he confessed in this book. He wrote this book in 2019. 2019, y'all. So this is 2026. So he has 7 years. and why are you pleading not guilty? Take the plea deal. Okay. Oh, yeah, and he is sick. Okay. I mean, now y'all see what I'm talking about, right? Wait till you hear the details of everything. The details. You see, there was 3 cars and about 4 people in each car, right? You heard that. And he's the only living witness.
Waited for an hour and a half, which felt more like 4 hours. I decided for us to get the fuck out of there. I called the homies on their phones. They're taking too damn long. Let's get fucked up. Move out. One by one, the drivers started their engines and slowly crept out of the back parking lot. Lucky for them, they never showed up, because it would have been like Al Capone's Valentine's Day massacre if they had. One thing about our crew, When it was time to handle business, we handled it with the best of them. And when it was time to have fun, we did that too. It's not that we were over what had happened to Baby Lane. It's just we couldn't control when them niggas were going to show up. Waiting so long was stopping us from doing what we had gone to Vegas to do in the first place. Have a good time. Our next destination was the Carriage House, a Las Vegas hotel where we had rented a few rooms as a kickback spot. On the way to the Carriage House, we stopped by the liquor barn to buy some bottles of Dom Perignon Rose, and Cristal. As we were driving to the liquor barn, it became evident that the guys in the van with me were worried that Suge would get some of his police hitmen to come back and try to kill us if we went after them. The police do hits for that nigga, one of them said. I remember thinking to myself, y'all shouldn't have jumped y'all punk asses in here if you're scared. Y'all know what we came here to do. C-Ray was one of my top salesmen and later became the first one to start snitching on niggas, was in the van with me, along with his cousin Trey and BMF's Big Meech out of Detroit.
Oh, we know Big Meech.
As we were loading up to leave the liquor barn, I took advantage of the chance to get away from them scary niggas in the van. I jumped in the front passenger seat of the Cadillac.
Yeah, don't he sound like he's the leader of it? He said some of those people were scared, but he wasn't scared. They came there to do something. This dude just sealed his own coffin.
Because I knew the niggas in the caddy wasn't with that bullshit. I pulled out the Glock that Zip gave me and tossed it in the back seat. Bubble Up did the driving. Baby Lane and Freaky were riding in the back. After our pit stop at the liquor barn, we continued towards the Carriage House. As we were driving, the two vehicles that were with us got caught at the traffic light. We kept rolling. A few blocks down, we were sitting at the light, and who the fuck did we see? The Death Row Caravan hit the corner with Tupac hanging out of the window of a black luxury BMW waving to his fans. People on the streets were screaming, "Tupac, Tupac, we love you, Tupac." In unison, all of our heads turned. There them motherfuckers go right there. If Pac had not been hanging out of the window, we would have never seen him. Buster you, Buster you.
They busted you.
Bubble Up busted a U-turn and hit the gutter lane on their asses. As they sat in traffic, we slowly rolled past the long line of luxury cars they had in their caravan. We were on a mission, looking into each one.
You see this?
Until we pulled up to the front vehicle and found who we were seeking.
You see?
Like two rams locking horns, Suge and I looked each other dead in the eye.
You see?
Our eyes locked. The terrified expression on Suge's face read, "Damn, them niggas." No words exchanged. The time for talking had passed. The shit was about to go down. Keefe D is my name. Suge Knight and I are the only living eyewitnesses to what truly happened on September 7, 1996 on the Vegas Strip between the occupants of our two vehicles. This deadly confrontation would change hip-hop history and my life forever. Contrary to what some may think based on depictions from bullshit-ass TV shows, documentaries, and movies, we were not pants-sagging gangbangers looking for trouble. Far from it. At the time of the incident, I had risen the ranks to become a major shot caller for the notorious Southside Compton Crips. I was...
Okay, see? He said he was the shot caller, right? So the whole interview thing, I mean, come on now. Which one is it, dude? Which one is it?
running a multi-million-dollar nationwide drug empire. Many of you have heard my name, but you don't know my story. You only know the bullshit that has been written and said about me by police, private investigators, and their punk-ass confidential informants. Fasten your seatbelts. It's my turn. Straight out of Compton.
Now he's going to give his background and story like that. They gave us the cliffhanger, and then he's going to stop, and then he's going to give you his history and all this kind of stuff. Bull. But we're going to listen, okay? We're going to listen to it because we really heard the meat and potato, the beginning, right? You don't hear that. We heard that part. So we already know what's going to happen because it happened already. We know the history of it. We just didn't know why it happened. We're learning now why it happened.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. Charles Dickens, Tale of Two Cities. Hey, Ma, I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the liquor store around the corner. All right, baby, be careful. Always, you know me. With that, I headed for a routine stop to the neighborhood liquor store to pick up a few items I needed. As I was coming out of the store, I saw 8 niggas with bats, poles, and sticks running towards the entrance of the...
He's just giving you his backstory now, okay, y'all? We're gonna entertain it. We're gonna listen to it. This is not part of the they left us in a cliffhanger, and then he's gonna give you his story, and then we're gonna get back to it. Right? So I'm gonna play this. Y'all wanna hear this part? His background and stuff like that? Let me know. He should have did the background first. Now they just left us hanging. Now we're gonna hear all this bull stuff about his life story. I mean, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear what he did, what happened, who did what, who did the shooting and all that. You know, we want to hear that part. Where they hit the car and all that. Cole and Music said no, we don't want to hear it. Sparkle said she wants to hear it. Okay, let me go back to where he left. I wouldn't know exactly where it's at in the book. So I know he left us at the cliffhanger. Cause we're gonna have to listen to this part, okay? I know it's gonna waste a lot of our time. That's how the 4 hours came about. Because the shook part is just you want to hear. Okay, let me just play it. Let me. I was gonna do a vote. Who wants to hear this boring part, and who wants to go to the Tupac part? But I don't know where the Tupac part is. Hey, Steven. All right, let me go ahead. Let me forward. Well, we're gonna hear about him and his being a kid and being a gangbanger and all this kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. You two invested in that? Okay, y'all. We're gonna play it. We're gonna play today and tomorrow. Okay, remember, y'all. I gotta go to work today, so that's why I can't play the whole thing today.
Store. I stood there, looking around, wondering who was about to get their ass kicked. Then it registered. There wasn't anybody out there but me. Oh shit! I darted towards my car and jumped in before they could reach me. Pushed the button to lock the doors and felt, momentarily at least, relieved. As I scrambled to find the ignition key, I suddenly heard a door open. I don't know how them motherfuckers got that front passenger door open. I could have sworn I locked it. Get that motherfucker, one of them shouted. Drag his ass out here. As one of the guys tried to grab me, I started kicking and swinging in a valiant yet vain attempt to keep the bloodthirsty wolves off me. Oh, fuck. I heard the car door behind me open, and I got clobbered in the back of the head with the pole.
Oh.
Punches rained down on me from all directions until one of them opened the driver's side door and pulled me out of the car. The last blow was with the bat across the side of my neck, which sent me crashing into a trash can. Semi-conscious, I heard one of them say, "Hurry up, let's get the fuck out of here before somebody calls the cops." My attackers took off running. As I pulled myself off the floor, I was literally seeing red from the warm blood that was streaming down my face and neck. My left eye was damn near shut closed. I was a bloody mess. I floundered back to my car, drove home, and stumbled into the house. Once inside, I headed straight for my weapon stash, pulled out my 30-30 hunting rifle with an extra clip, and put my 9mm in my waistband. Before storming out of the door, I made a quick stop in the bathroom to wash off my face and neck. My injuries had become secondary to the desire for revenge that had completely taken over every ounce of my being. Those motherfuckers done fucked with the wrong one tonight was all I could think. I knew precisely where one of the dudes lived, so I quietly pulled up in front of his family's house. The lights were all out. I was in Elmer Fudd mode. Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting niggas. I rolled down the car window, pointed the rifle, and let my trigger finger do the talking. Booker, 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 Booker. The shot simultaneously shattered the previously quiet block, the windows and door of the house. I continued blasting until the clip was empty. Booker, 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 Booker. I quickly changed clips and shot some more. Booker, 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 Booker. Nearly emptying the second clip. When I finally stopped firing, the barrel of the gun was smoking. I put the pedal to the floor and sped off into the darkness. As my luck would have it, who did I see when I hit the corner? The brother of the guy I was looking for. Sorry, nigga, but you're in the wrong fucking place at the absolute wrong fucking time. I jumped out of the car with the gun still smoking. Motherfucker, don't move, bitch! The barrel of the rifle pointing directly between his eyes. Hands raised, his younger brother pleaded, "Don't kill me, don't kill me!" My cousin Darlene ran from the inside of one of the crack houses we had on the block.
Crack
She was
house.
from Grape Street, a well-known Crip set out of the Jordan Downs projects in Watts. Kill that motherfucker was Darlene's ghetto advice. But there were too many witnesses, and my homies had trained me better than that. With the butt of the rifle, I bashed him in the head, knocking him back where he landed head first on the concrete. I moved in and started kicking him in the face. I guess from hearing all of the gunshots, a little crowd had gathered, including my boys Clyde, Gangsta Ben, and Bubble Up. They were on that nigga like stink on shit. What happened, big dog? One of the homies asked, concerned about the blood that was still visible on my face, neck, and soaked into my shirt. These niggas caught me up at the liquor store, beat me with bats and poles, all kinds of shit. Come on, dog, let's get you home.
Hold on. I like this comment. Cole Ember Music says he wins America's Dumbest Criminal Award for talking too much. He had a Queen for a Day proffer agreement. If he never said a peep, they would never hold him accountable for what he did. Exactly. Yes, exactly. But you know, and here's the thing, because listening to this book, he had mentioned how how Diddy had given them money for a bounty on somebody's head, right? I don't know who it was, but there was no, I think they were trying to get Diddy, and that's why they allow him to the freedom they have, because he was informant because Diddy was like the main target, you know, because they were going to put this in there with the trial, but they couldn't have the evidence didn't match to what was said in the book. You get what I'm saying? So that's why they allowed him to last it as long as he did. But when Diddy went to trial and they couldn't bring the stuff he said because there was no proof, no paper trail. That's what I'm saying. There was no paper trail of what he said. So they're like, okay, you didn't give us nothing. That proffer is no good for us. We're coming after you. And that's what happened. Because Diddy was the big dog that they were trying to get. You get what I'm saying? Because in the book, he talks about the bounty. You said the book is full of lies. It's a possibility. I mean, you know what? Sometimes there's lies and some truth, and then it all comes together. One thing we know, Tupac is dead. We know that for a fact. And we know that there was a bunch of cars, there was a bunch of people who did it. And we knew there was a fight at that hotel. We knew that part because I knew about that. Of course, they want to sensationalize the book and make it more glorious. Okay? So, all right, let me go ahead on. Oh, okay. Well, if he could have gotten zipped on that wire, then he went to New York, they would have had Diddy and Zip. You're right. That's exactly what I was saying. They didn't have any paper trail or anything like that. Real evidence. He wore a wire, and They tried to get Zip to admit he didn't give him money for the hit. Zip knew something was up and didn't fall for it. Thank you. I said the same thing. All right, let me go ahead and finish. Okay.
We hopped in my ride and boned out to my pad. When I got home, my sister began treating me. Damn, you're fucked up. You need to go to the hospital. My sister did her best to stop the leaking and bandage me up. Then we rushed out of the house into the car and sped to Killer King Hospital. That was the shameful name that the Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital had earned back then. I made a few mistakes, but one would catch up with me. In our rush to get to the emergency room for medical attention, I forgot about cleaning the empty gun shell casings out of the car.
Ooh.
Next thing I knew, a few hours later, while laying on an emergency room hospital bed, the police came in and booked me. Welcome to my city, Compton, USA. And welcome to my world, the streets. Compton was the city my parents chose to raise their family. But the street life, that decision was all mine. I don't want to mistakenly or carelessly paint the picture that Compton was an ultra-violent community for everybody. In fact, back in the late 60s and 70s, Compton was a middle-class, family-oriented paradise for blacks. Before moving to Compton, our family lived in Watts, right across the street from Markham Middle School. Many people from Compton formerly lived in Watts. Back then, moving to Compton from Watts was like George Jefferson moving on up from Harlem to a deluxe apartment on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It was considered a step up, even though the two cities are only about 3 miles away from each other. Our family received our lucky break when my pops and uncle went to Agua Caliente Racetrack in Tijuana, Mexico. They picked 6 consecutive winning horses. My dad won $50,000 that day, which would be the equivalent of winning $1 million today. With the winnings, our parents relocated from Watts, bought a house in Compton, and 2 brand new cars. When we moved onto our block in 1965, there weren't any other blacks in the neighborhood, and the white families that lived there wanted to keep it that way. That's when I observed firsthand how the phenomenon known as white flight is real. Once we moved into that neighborhood, white families started fleeing like cockroaches when the lights come on. My mother was a dedicated housewife whose family came from Dallas, Texas. I remember one day my mother and I were returning home with a shopping cart from Cole's Market, the local grocery store. A carload of big white dudes pulled up in a '56 Chevy and started screaming out the window, "Niggers, niggers, get the fuck out!" That shit scared me to death. I couldn't have been no more than 5 years old. My mom's looked at me with a stern but confident look in her eyes. Her hand was in her purse as she said, "Don't worry about them." My mother certainly wasn't worried because she made sure she protected her kids at all times. Another early memory I have was in 1968. My mother and I were driving on one of her errands, listening to the radio when the program was interrupted. CBS News Bulletin just in. Civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King was shot at a downtown Memphis hotel. I could see tears begin to swell up in her eyes. "What's wrong, Mama?" I didn't fully comprehend the gravity of the situation reported, but Mama knew, and she started to weep. They killed Martin Luther King. I hadn't seen my mother cry before, so that's when I knew the shit was serious. My dad was a former Marine and a strict disciplinarian who taught us good principles. My father's family is originally from Homestead, Virginia. We can trace our lineage directly to Nat Turner, the famous freedom fighter who led one of the most successful slave rebellions in U.S. history. It gives me a great sense of pride to know that I come from one hell of a bloodline. Not many people can say that Nat Turner is their great, great, great direct descendant. In fact, I can arguably say that I'm the hardest motherfucker in my family since Nat Turner. My grandmother, who was the backbone of our family, may have been my closest competition. I remember one day my grandma called me asking questions. I told her I didn't have the answers to the questions she was asking. My grandmother got to going off and cursing a little bit. I was like, "Grandma, I'm cool. I'm going to go on and get off the line. I'm not going to hang up in your face, but I'm going to get off the line. That day, I happened to get a nice size shipment. So I had my whole crew on the porch. We were over at the house on Burris Lane so we could distribute the product. About 10 minutes after hanging up the phone, I saw Grandma pulling up. I was planning on leaving before she got there because I knew she was coming. But before I could leave, she pulled up. She lived off of 62nd and Broadway over in 6 Deuce Hood. She had to be doing 90 miles per hour to get over there that fast, was just about matched her age at the time. When she pulled up, Grandma's anger and adrenaline were flowing so hard, she jumped out, didn't even use her walker, and came up on the porch. I was sitting on the porch with about 10 homies. She had $300 in her left hand, and her right fist was balled up. She reared back and socked me in the nose right in front of everybody, letting everybody know I'll still whip this nigga's ass. She punked me, then threw the $300 in my face. Nigga, you think you're better than everybody because you got 2 pennies more than everybody? You're going in the dirt just like everybody else, motherfucker. Before she left, she whipped out her black old school .38 revolver and made it clear. Nigga, I'll kill you. She gave me a pass by not shooting my ass. She pulled off the curb and made a U-turn when my brother yelled, "She finna do a drive-by." All of us hit the ground. She punked us. The next morning, she called me for breakfast and apologized. She told me she didn't mean to do me like that. My parents moved to California once my dad was assigned to Camp Pendleton in Oceanside, California. There were 12 of us children, 6 boys and 6 girls. 2 of my brothers passed away. My oldest brother, Thurman, died from leukemia, a form of cancer, in 1971. My brother, Mike, who was 2 years older than me and doubled as my best friend, got shot and died in the streets of Compton in 1990. Little Dog is my little brother who was 4 years younger than me and followed in my footsteps. In 1980, when I was 15 years old, my mother died from colon cancer, the same shit I developed and almost died from in 2014. Lucky for me, during an annual visit to my doctor for a physical, my doctor asked, "Are you feeling all right?" He had a look of concern. "Yeah, I'm good." "You sure?" he asked with a doubtful look on his face. "Yeah, I feel normal." He looked down at my blood work results for a few minutes, assessing my extremely low blood level. We left his office immediately, walking directly across the street into the hospital emergency room. I spent 35 days in the hospital because my blood level was half what it should have been. Instead of 14.7 pints of blood, my blood level was more than 7 pints low. While I was in the hospital, they fed me intravenously due to the blood transfusions I was receiving. This meant I wasn't able to eat solid food for 17 days. That shit didn't work for me because I would get hungry as a bear cat. When the nurses weren't looking, I would steal juices off the food carts because they weren't giving me anything to drink. My fluid intake was restricted to sucking on ice. I went into the hospital weighing 238 pounds and left weighing 190. One day, my family came to visit me in the hospital, and the nurse put me on blast. She was like, "Do you know your son and your brother has been in here stealing juices off the cart? He doesn't know it, but we have cameras." Oh, shit. I have been stealing juices for more than a week, but they finally caught on. That food cart would come around, and I'd run up there with the IV still in my arm. On another day, my sister came to visit with my 2 nieces, my grandson, and my wife. A siren went off, and I heard a nurse say, "Code red." To me, code red meant somebody had died or was dying. 30 minutes later, another code red went off. So I got out of my bed, and I was feeling bad that day, and I shut the motherfucking door. My sister was like, "Why'd you shut the door?" I said, "The Reaper is out there, and he's busy. He ain't coming in this motherfucker." They started cracking up laughing. My
Not
sister
the
said,
Reaper.
"You got the Lord with you. You don't have to worry about no damn Reaper." Eventually, the doctors operated on me, took out my big and small intestines, and stapled me back together with 25 staples in my stomach. If my doctor hadn't acted so quickly, it could have been over for me. I watched Big Ange from the My Wives go through a similar battle and die, which was some sad shit to see. My cancer is currently in remission. Fortunately, the doctors were able to remove the tumor while it was still in the opening stage, before the first stage. The CAT scans have been coming back normal ever since. My cancer doctor told me I was cancer-free, but he warned me that this is the 5-year period where I have to get CAT scans every 6 months and a colonoscopy every year. The shit is scary, and it's been a long journey. The Lord has been with me through it all. Despite my mother's passing, my father held our family down for over 20 years by himself. Then he finally remarried. Back in the 60s and early 70s, most black families had both a mother and father in the house. Besides my parents, other members of their family also migrated to California in the late 50s, along with scores of other African-American families. Eventually, our whole street was full of black families. Contrary to popular myth, the majority of young men that started Crips and Bloods in Compton had mothers and fathers in the home and in their lives. Single-parent households didn't jump off in Compton until the late 70s. Back then, parents instilled morals and values into their kids, and there wasn't such a thing as child abuse. For the first 14 years of my life, our family attended church regularly. You would get your ass wore out if you misbehaved. The principal at the school was even empowered to whip your ass if you misbehaved. Gang members back then had to be undercover. You might be big and bad on the streets, but when you got home, you changed up because mom and dad were in the house and they didn't play. These new street dudes are growing up in homes without both parents. That's why they're all fucked up and don't have any respect. Growing up, we also didn't have a lot of gang violence with Mexicans. In fact, we did business with them. Before I went to the feds in 1998, the blacks had the dope sacks. By the time I got out of the feds, the Mexicans had the sacks. They roll around Compton looking like brothers used to look. Even their senoritas roll around in nice cars. That used to be how blacks had it in Compton. Several factors influenced my decision to get involved with the street life. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, it was a fad that a lot of kids were getting involved with. Street life was a way for young blacks to protect ourselves and our communities from anybody who wanted to mess with us. By 1969, 1970, gangs were growing super fast and super big, and I wasn't interested in being an outsider. Our neighborhood, Southside Crips, started in 1971. Our area is bordered by Long Beach Boulevard to Alameda, Compton Boulevard to Greenleaf. We were initially known as the Us Boys. There were a couple of incidents with the Pyrus, Bloods in the area that motivated the original Us Boys to convert and become Crips. The Crips were the most dominant gang popping off back then. To this day, there's a bunch of Crip sets in Compton. Santana Block, Southside, Nutty Block, Spooktown, Carver Block. There's a lot of them. I don't know what the incident was that set things off for the older guys, but there was an incident that I experienced. A few of us youngsters, 9 and 10-year-olds, rode our bikes to the Pep Boys on Long Beach Boulevard. When we got to Palmer Street, we ran into some Looters Park Blood niggas. Little George, Willie T, Bartender, and Herman Jr. They were all older than us. We were riding in the street and cars were coming behind us. So when we saw them, we couldn't turn around. Once they saw us, they started chasing us. Willie T caught up to me, socked me in the nose, and took my bike. I never forgot that shit. During another incident, once again, I was with some of my friends, Uchi and Stevie Johnson, the little brother of the Boston Celtics, Dennis Johnson. We went to the Compton College pool, where everybody used to go swimming. While we were swimming, about 30 bald-headed Crips came up to the pool and chased everybody out. One of the dudes, Sweet Tooth, was an original Us boy, but he turned Crip. He pointed at us and said, "Those are little Us boys." You should have seen how fast we ran out of that motherfucker. We were just 9 and 10 years old. They were all 16, 17, and 18 years old. Even though I was too young to be in the Us boys, I was there when the neighborhood converted over to become Crips. Once again, I and some of my friends were within earshot when a group of the Us boys including a few of my big brothers, were having a conversation about an apparent beef they had with some Pyrus, Bloods. They were pissed about something. Be up there around 4 or 5, one of the homies barked. Mac Thomas, Bruno, Head Honcho, and some of the Grandee Crips are going to meet us up at Emerson. The invitation wasn't for us. We were too young to be in their business like that. But we went to Emerson anyway, following the older dudes. Crips from the Grandees, one of the original Crip gangs, showed up and put us on. It wasn't a hostile takeover. It was more like a merger, where everybody who was part of the Us Boys became Crips to give us a competitive advantage. After the conversion, a few dice games got started. It was my first official night as a Crip, and I happened to be shaking the dice when my pops came driving by and saw me. Hey, what are you doing? I didn't even have to look. I knew my dad's unmistakable voice when I heard it. I walked up to the car. Nothing, just shooting dice. Not no more. Bring your ass on and get in this car. I don't want you out there, you understand me? I hopped in the passenger seat. Yes, sir. I looked down as we pulled off to hide my embarrassment. I don't give you money to do it like that. Little did he know, his 9-year-old son, as well as 3 of his older sons, had just become original Compton Crips. He took me back to the house and gave me a good old-fashioned pull your pants down belt whipping. That was back when you could still get a whipping from your parents. Back when the police would take you home so your parents would whip your ass.
That's so true.
Although I didn't get to finish the dice game, I've been repping Southside Crip to the full.
That's the truth. And the police would beat you behind too. I got a whooping for running away, y'all. I'm telling you, that's the way it was when I was younger. They ain't played. There was no child abuse. The child abuse didn't even exist in my world. Okay, hold on a second. You know, I don't have to stop it in between as long as I did, short time frame. I can go longer now. Because we're in it for a little while. Hold on a second. Let's go ahead on and play this. I lost my spot, y'all. Lost my spot. I was trying to just a second. All right, there we go.
I learned a few valuable lessons as a youngster around dice games. One time when I was in the 8th grade, we were at this party shooting dice, and one of the dudes felt I cheated him. So he tried to steal. I whipped out my little 25 and pointed it at him. The guy's brother was there and whipped out a bigger strap than me, a 45.
Oh my God.
We had all grew up together, so once the smoke cleared, about 20 minutes later, we came to an agreement. The older brother told me, "Little dog, let me teach you a lesson. Don't ever pull no gun without using it. At least hit a nigga with it in the head a couple of times if you pull it out." That was important advice that I learned from and took to heart. One ironic relationship I had growing up was with the infamous Marion Suge Knight. I've known Suge since I was 9 years old. He and I played Pop Warner football together for the Greater Compton Colts and the Compton Wolves back when we were 11 and 12 years old. He played on the offensive line as the center, and I was the running back and strong safety, the hardest and fastest guy on the team. I earned the nickname the Assassin after Oakland Raider All-Pro safety Jack Tatum. Suge's cousins, Ronald and Donald, also played with us.
Yeah, people leaving because they don't want to hear this boring part. Oh, well, we gotta finish it off. Y'all making people leave. We listen to the boring part. Folks are leaving.
Both of them played tight end. Almost all of the guys on our team were Crips, except Suge
It
and his
is
cousins.
boring, y'all. It is boring, this part.
Suge's dad, who was the original Suge, was one of our coaches, and this other man named Billingsley was the head coach. Suge's family owned a diesel truck company, so they were living that middle-class lifestyle, driving nice vans and Cadillacs. When we'd win a game, his dad would invite the team over to their house to swim, eat hot dogs, potato chips, and punch. Suge was my dog. One longtime friend of mine was a guy named Bubble Up. As a young dude, 17 or 18 years old, he was one of the richest young niggas in Compton. When we were back in high school, before the drug game got real big, people used to hijack trucks carrying cigarettes and other merchandise. Bubble Up was one of the best at doing it, catching a truck at least once a month.
Dang, that's
He
how
had
you
a
feel
Mexican
rich.
fence out in Santa Fe Springs that used to give him $180,000 per truck. I think Bubble Up single-handedly contributed to the creation of the LoJack anti-theft system, because after a while, they started putting LoJacks on them motherfuckers. One of my best friends growing up was Uchi. I've known him since 1965, and we were always together. We didn't go to grade school together, but he lived 2 streets from me. His dad was also a football coach. He was about my size, but was younger than us, so he played with the younger guys. Another one of my friends growing up was a pretty boy I'm going to call C-Ray. He knew all the street players and pimps. Pimpin' Ken, Don Juan, Good Game. He liked to be around them. He came from a pretty well-off family. His mother worked for Mobile, and his dad worked for Boeing, which was called McDonnell Douglas back then. While the rest of us went to rough-ass Emerson Elementary, C-Ray went through Catholic school. He was my little homie and became one of my best salesmen once we were fully enrolled in Sidewalk University. We got into the drug game and started moving significant weight.
Not the
Sidewalk University.
Oh,
In the early 70s, when I attended Emerson Elementary School,
not
there was a teacher-
Sidewalk University. Sidewalk University. Lord have mercy. You know what that is, right? Sidewalk University.
there by the name of Dr. Green. He also worked as an athletic trainer at Compton College. Dr. Green saw that I was a straight-A student. So when I was about 9 years old, he invited me to a Compton College football game to be a ball boy. My job was running fresh balls in from the sidelines. Dr. Green also worked with the basketball and baseball teams. So when their season started, I started working with both of those teams as well. Working with the sports teams at Compton College gave me the opportunity to travel throughout the state of California: Ventura, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and Fresno. We even went to Hawaii one year.
Sparkle, this part is really boring. It's because of you we're still listening to this boring part. But I'm going to take a walk for a second. I got to go downstairs and get some. I'm going to play it, but this is boring.
Dr. Green eventually retired, but I continued to go to the college and became the team manager for the football, basketball, and baseball teams. When I was in 10th grade, I participated in UCLA's Upward Bound program that was designed to help students graduate from high school and successfully graduate from college. I was one of their top students. We would stay at UCLA for 9 weeks. It wasn't moving fast enough for me. So I decided to get rolling myself. Said, yo, tell your brother I need an ounce. And he handed me $60, the price for an ounce of weed back then. The next day, I showed up at John's office with the package. Here you go. And I handed him a rolled up brown paper bag. It's a pleasure doing business with you, I said as I turned to walk out. Hey, wait a minute. Come back in here and close the door, John shouted. He then opened his desk drawer and pulled out a big plastic bag which contained 4 ounces of powder cocaine. Hey, big dog, see if y'all can sell this shit. Coach John handed me the bag, and I guess he assumed I would take it home.
Wait a minute, the coach was selling stuff? Had them selling stuff too? The coach? Not the coach.
To my brother. Unlike today, where an ounce of powder cocaine is the size of a stamp, back then, powder cocaine was $2,800 an ounce and would fill a sandwich bag. That shit never made it home. I flipped all 4 ounces in one night. A few of the big homies, my brother-in-law from Grape Street, my homeboy Junior, and one of my brothers each bought an ounce from me that night. I was 16 years old and ready to seize my opportunity to get in the drug game and start balling like Kobe, a champ. My business started flourishing, and I began to move more and more product. By 1981 or 82, I had opened up a few crack houses in the neighborhood. One more.
Wow, he opened up crack houses in the neighborhood, y'all. He's a menace to society. He was a menace to society. He opened up crack houses in the neighborhood. Not one, but houses.
At about 5 o'clock, my older brother called me. Hey, bro, I'm out of shit. I need some more. Send some over to my spot on Glencoe, which was just a few blocks away from a crack house I had on the corner of Greenleaf and Mayo. I left some with nephew around the corner, I told him. Nephew ain't got no more. All right, I'll be over there in a minute to bring you some. I pulled up to a spot on Glencoe, and my brother sent this chick out. Come get this shit yourself, I hollered out. No sooner than those words came out of my mouth, in my rearview mirror, I saw the sheriffs hit the corner.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
2 sheriffs in particular, Ramos and Bauer, with some crazy gung-ho.
I guarantee you he's going to start having a relationship as far as giving the money to the cops to keep them quiet. How much you make a bet? How much you make a bet?
Motherfuckers. I was in an IROC Camaro, so I took off and left their ass in smoke. I thought I got away, but little did I know, they continued looking for me. I hit the corner of Greenleaf and went to Mayo, my little corner spot where my nephew was. As I pulled up to the spot, I could hear the powerful motor of the sheriff's car speeding up Greenleaf, but I still had the kilos on me. I rushed up to the door of the house and began banging on the door. Open the door, nephew! Nephew didn't open the door. As fast as I could, I pulled the house keys out of my pocket and opened the door. By then, the sheriffs were out of their car and pointing their weapons at me. Freeze, motherfucker! I hurried and got my ass inside the house and locked the inside wooden door. But I forgot and left the keys in the outer bar door.
Stupid!
Instead of running to the restroom and getting rid of the dope, I panicked and ran to the closet, still carrying the dope and a gun. Within a minute, at least 8 sheriff's cars pulled up. They kicked the door in and raided the house. They got my nephew, my homeboy, and his wife. They already had them handcuffed on the porch when they brought me out of the house. One of the sheriffs asked me, "What's your name?" "Ken." "Motherfucker, we know who you are." "My name is Ken." "That's your story?" Clearly irritated. "Yeah." They took me to jail and I bailed out. About 3 weeks later, I was going into the neighborhood to take this lady named Linda her daily 4 ounces to sell for me. Them same motherfuckers, Ramos and Bauer, came up behind me. "Pull it over!" They got out of their car and approached. "You selling that dope tonight?" "No, sir, no." Unconvinced, they pulled me out of the car and had me sit on the curb while they searched and found the 4 ounces I had in the car. Book that fucker on the highest bail possible. My friends, Ramos and Bauer, gave me back-to-back cases real fast. I had already done the shooting I described earlier, so they combined the 3 cases and sentenced me to 4 years in the state pen. I was 20 years old. From 1985 to 1989, I served time in the same motherfucking prisons I used to visit as a kid from 1965 to 1976, when one of my uncles was serving his bid for murder. Before sending me to state prison, I was sent to Wayside Max, which is a part of the LA County jail system. While in Wayside, a riot popped off between Crips and some black Cubans who had been exiled by Fidel Castro during the Mariel boat lift when Castro emptied his jails. Ronald Reagan rounded most of the exiles up and put them back in jail. It was easy to tell if somebody had been to prison in Cuba because Castro had inmates' identification numbers tattooed on the inside of their lips.
Wow.
In America, inmates get a card with their inmate identification number on it. But Castro put the inmate number in their mouth. One day, when a group of Crips was in the chow hall eating, a situation broke out with one of the Cuban inmates. The Cuban inmate asked this dude named Small Fry, who was from Tragnew Park, to pass him the pitcher of Kool-Aid. Small Fry took his sweet time with the pitcher and asked all the Crips at the table, "Y'all want some more Kool-Aid, cuz?" "Yeah, let me get some more, cuz." "Pass that shit over here when you're done, homie." We passed the pitcher around, and by the time it finally got to the Cuban, the shit was empty. The Cuban took the Kool-Aid pitcher, stood up, and hit Small Fry in the back of the head with it. When we got back to the housing unit, we had a little meeting. "Hey, homie, what y'all want to do?" Homeboy Small Fry was from Compton, so we had to do something. The decision was made that we had to make a move. I got my shank and went to work. I hit 3 of them. Hit them good, too. The police came in the unit shooting tear gas. "Move, move, move! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!" One by one, the police handcuffed and removed anyone, injured or not, that had blood on them. We were all lying on the ground, and the big Cuban that I stuck, the biggest one, came running towards me hollering, "Motherfucker!" He tried to get at me, but the sheriff tackled his ass before he could reach me. I ended up getting put in the hole for that shit. They were about to charge me with another case, but luckily they didn't. While I was in Wayside, the Crips also had a riot against the sheriffs. The sheriffs were the baddest motherfuckers in there. They beat up so many Crips, it was pathetic. It just so happened that I wasn't in the module set aside only for Crips, the 4800 module, when the riot happened. They had me stuck in the hole for 64 days from that Cuban shit. 64 days is a long time to be in the county jail hole. When I got out of the hole and saw the homies Mondo and Sad from Nutty Block, both of them told me, "Man, we had a riot with the sheriffs." After Wayside, they sent me to Chino West for 2 months. Then the counselor at Chino told me, "You're going to CIM or CMC." Every Friday, they would post on the board where you were going, and next to my name, it read, Tracy. I was practically still a kid heading up to Tracy. Tracy is fucking gladiator school. The 4800 module in Wayside was a dangerous place with all them Crips in there. But Tracy was a super big Crip place. There were 3,000 inmates, and 1,800 of them were Crips, hardcore gangbangers. The white boys, Mexicans, Cubans, all of them are raw in Tracy. In those days, Tracy was so dangerous, a blood would get their ass thrown off the tier because Crips ran the whole place. They had some vicious guys up in there that would rape your ass. One nigga named Big L.A., they had to cut the top bunk out of his cell because he was assaulting so many people. My time in Tracy didn't help to rehabilitate me at all. On the contrary, my time in Tracy helped me to become a harder gangster. When you're a youngster up in the pen, between the ages of 19 and 21, you're on the front line. The homies send your ass on seek and destroy missions like a torpedo to earn your stripes. I had been selling dope before I got sent up to Tracy, so I was one of the more well-off inmates in there. It is safe to say I earned a few stripes and made it up out of there with no scars. My next move would be to take what I had learned in gladiator school and step my game up to the next level. The game. I am an invisible man. I am invisible, understand, simply because people refuse to see me. When they approach me, they see only my surroundings, themselves, or figments of their imagination. Indeed, everything and anything except me. Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. Invisible? Not me. Fuck that noise. My destiny was to be seen, heard, and felt. I can honestly say I've accomplished my mission, and I'm still not done. Invisibility simply has never been in my DNA. In the street game, you can do 3 things by the age of 25. You can step your game up and become a gangster by making serious money and owning homes and businesses. Become a grown man and get your ass a job. Or continue gangbanging, taking risks of going back and forth to state prison and ending up in the grave. I chose the first. And with the help of a few trusted advisors, I took my street game to new heights. In my Southside Crip neighborhood, I was known by several names. Big Dog, Big Homie, some called me Gotti, but most knew me as Keefe D. In terms of rank, if we were an army, I was a 5-star general. If we were a city, I was the mayor. And if we were a country, I was President Obama. As Big Homie, I gave folks in my neighborhood jobs and an opportunity to earn money. I'm not talking about small amounts of money either. Folks earned enough to feed their families. They all had a couple of nice cars, trucks, and lowriders. We even started a lowrider club and a hydraulic company for lowriders. Just like in any other type of economy, everybody had a role to play. Like any good leader of an organization, I had my board of directors, the older, trusted, right-hand men that would advise me. I had one older gentleman named RC, who was super rich. He was 72 years old when he married this broad that was 28 years old. One day, RC came to me and said, "I'm going through this divorce and all my shit is tied up. I need some bread. I need to borrow $70,000 from you, if that's cool." "No problem, dog. Get at me later on tonight, up by my spot." RC showed up, and I hit him with the $70,000. "I'll pay you back in a few months." Honestly, I had forgotten about the money. Then about 6 months later, RC showed up and said, "I sincerely appreciate everything you did for me. Come, let's go for a ride." He took me and signed 6 pieces of property over to me. 2 of them were triplexes, and the other 4 were duplexes. All of them he owned free and clear. All I had to do was pay the yearly property taxes on them. Soon after that, he moved to Houston, Texas, and 2 years later, he suffered a massive heart attack at a Hardee's restaurant and passed away. After he died, his daughter sued me for the houses, and the courts took the houses from me. Chief among my advisors was my beloved friend and partner, FL. He was a real, high-level, white-collar hustler, about 10 years older than me. FL and I first met when I was a little kid, and he was kicking it with one of my homegirls. FL used to come through the neighborhood to visit her in a brand new, pussy pink 76 Cadillac Seville. That bitch was pretty as a motherfucker. I'll never forget the day FL jumped into his girlfriend's car to run errands with her and left me the keys to his new ride so I could go to football practice. At 12 years old, I showed up to Pop Warner football practice driving a brand new Seville. Suge Knight's daddy, we called him Big Suge, was like, "Damn, where you get that from? I had a smile on my face a mile wide. FL was my dog for a long time. He's the one that hooked me up with my Colombian cocaine connection. Boss Man was my first plug, before I established a direct relationship with my Colombian plug. Boss Man's aunt and his cousins are from my neighborhood, and his first cousin is my first cousin. Our two families go all the way back to Texas in the 1930s. My aunt has babies by his uncle, so we're practically cousins. He's a year older than me. The two of us played together since we were 3 or 4 years old. Boss Man was the first significant supplier that allowed me to get on the map. He would give me 20 kilos a week. In 1989, when I got out of Tracy for my first stint in the pen, Boss Man rolled up. Hey, dog, glad to see you home. I don't have any work for you right now, but don't trip. I got you. He handed me a bag that contained $10,000 in cash. About 3 weeks later, I was at C. Ray's house, and Boss Man pulled up wearing a suit in a brand new Mercedes Benz. Hey, dog, come here. I walked up to his ride. I have some rims in the backyard I need you to wash for me. I went to his auntie's backyard to wash the rims. Just as I was about to start, he came to the backyard and said, pull them out to the front and wash them out there. I'm not sure why he wanted me to wash the rims out front, but it didn't bother me any. While I was washing the rims, one of the homies shouted, I know that ain't Keefe D down there washing no motherfucking rims. Before I could yell back, a gray pickup truck pulled up in front of the house. Boss Man came out of the house and greeted the driver. Then he turned to me and said, hey, dog, throw those rims on the back of this truck. I lifted the rims and placed them on the back of the truck. Boss Man came to the back of the truck and explained, we're big out here now, dog. We got some new shit called blow up. That's when you cut the cocaine to make 2 kilos out of 1. And birds don't cost $70,000 anymore. They're down to $14,000. I couldn't believe what he was telling me. He continued, you see that brown bag in the back of the truck? Grab that. It's yours. Call me when you finish. I opened the bag and there were 3 kilos inside. In the early 80s, the Peruvians and Belizeans were sending most of the dope to the United States. Once the Colombians took over the drug business, the price of cocaine went down to $14,000 a kilo. Armed with new information and the 3 kilos Boss Man gave me, I started rolling all over again. I called my boy C. Ray, who was staying in Birmingham, Alabama at the time, and let him know I was back in business. Send me a half a kilo out here, dog, he requested. I sent him the half kilo. A few days later, when I tried calling him, the nigga stopped answering my calls. I knew this chick named Felicia who was from Alabama, so I asked her to take a trip out there with me. We flew to Alabama and called him from a local Alabama number, and the nigga answered the phone on the first ring. Nigga, I'm at the airport. Come and get me. C-Ray came and picked me up, but the nigga didn't have any gas in the car. We were riding on fumes. He appeared to me like he was smoked out. C-Ray, man, you're tripping. We rented a 3-story house with the pool in the backyard and a basement for $250 per month to set up shop. In places like Alabama, a cellar is mandatory because the tornadoes will wipe your ass out. Back then, that same house in LA would have cost at least $2,000 per month. I took my kilos down to Birmingham where we were selling 9 ounces for $12,000. I took 1 kilo and turned it into 3, then turned 3 into 9, then turned the 9 into 18 kilos. We were out there in Alabama balling for about a year and a half. One day, when I was back in Compton, Boss Man pulled up to one of my spots. Hey, dog, I need you to cook some water for me. Cooking PCP is a skill a minimal number of people have. It's super dangerous, and if you don't know what you're doing, it can explode like dynamite. It's a skill I learned during my stay in Watts after my mother passed away. I stayed in the Jordan Downs projects with some family members for about a year and a half and returned to Compton with a lot of game. Specifically, I learned how to cook up PCP. People on the East Coast don't know how to cook PCP Cooking PCP is one of those ancient hood secrets that only niggas from Compton and Watts know how to do. I went over to Boss Man's location and cooked some PCP for him. He gave me an ounce when I was done. I started rolling again, opened up 3 or 4 crack houses, and Boss Man started giving me 100 grams every day for $7,000. I was rolling like a motherfucker. About 3 weeks after that, Boss Man got locked up in the summer of 1990. Not long after Boss Man got taken down, I met my Colombian plug and started dancing with the devil. Dancing with the devil. My rise to new heights in the drug game was the result of the fortuitous meeting with my new Colombian supplier, JC. In an ironic twist, despite JC's initials, I used to refer to him as the devil, but not because he was so deep in the drug game. JC was the devil because I never saw him lose at gambling. He and I both enjoyed games of chance. I'd take $25,000 from the first 5 kilos I'd sell, then head to the casinos with JC to have some fun. We would fly to Vegas at 10 o'clock at night and stay there until 6 o'clock the next morning. Without fail, he'd win. He'd earn $70,000 at one spot, then we would go to the Normandy Club where he'd win another $140,000. I'd be in the casinos getting murdered, while this guy would have chips damn near sky high. Man, you're the fucking devil, I jokingly say to him. Not once did I see him lose at the tables. Not once. It's like the laws of attraction were working for his ass. Since he already had a lot of money, more money seemed to be attracted to him. Over time, I learned that JC had millions. He owned a whole block of apartment buildings on both sides of the street in Inglewood. The way JC and I met, me and my boy FL was riding around as I was looking to cop 15 kilos. Since Boss Man was locked up for more than 6 months, I didn't have a reliable supplier. So I would have to go to one spot and get 5 kilos, go to another place to get 3 kilos, and another spot to get the rest. After the second stop, FL asked, "Man, you need a plug?" He didn't look at me when he asked the question, probably because he was disappointed in how inefficiently I was conducting my business. Hell yeah. Excitement and surprise both present in my voice because I knew FL was a player with high-powered connections. But I also knew that the drug game was not his area. I'm going to introduce you to one of my Colombian partners. Since FL didn't sell drugs, I don't know what business they had together, but that was none of my business. FL stepped out of the ragtop Corvette we were in and placed a quick phone call. When he got back in the car, he had a smile on his face like his mission was accomplished. "Turn right up here at the light, then make a left on Lakewood," FL instructed me. "Pull in this parking lot. Let's grab something to eat." We pulled into the Denny's parking lot on Lakewood Boulevard, right off the 91 freeway. My partner's going to meet us up here in a few. As we were placing our order, I saw a gray Plymouth Acclaim pull in right next to my Corvette. The driver was light-skinned, with blonde hair, and looked like he was in his early 20s. He wore a Boston Celtics jersey and some shades. He looked like a regular white boy, but once we met, he acted like deep down inside, he wanted to be a brother. FL had already told me that he was Colombian. The Colombian walked up to our booth and hugged FL. Then FL introduced us. "JC, this is my partner, Keefe D." I stood and we shook hands. "Keefe D, meet JC." JC joined us in the booth. He was originally from Medellin, the same place as Pablo Escobar and the cocaine godmother, Griselda Blanco. Being the avid Lakers fan that I am, I immediately went in on the Celtics jersey he was wearing. "Man, don't you know this is Lakersville? You sure got some balls." He already knew where I was going, so he covered his mouth as he started to laugh. Before I could finish, he shot back. 16 titles, check the record books. That's all I have to say, with a smug smile on his face. His English was excellent. The conversation and vibe went smooth, and from his friendly demeanor, I knew I had a new plug. We continued to converse about sports while eating our food. As usual, FL withdrew from the conversation once it turned to sports, since sports wasn't his thing. As JC prepared to leave, FL ended the meeting with one final emphatic statement. This guy right here,
I'm hungry.
he looked JC in his eyes, put his arm around my shoulder, and said, he's the real deal. They don't get no realer. JC nodded in acknowledgement. As we began walking back to the car, I asked FL, that's your plug? Dude is connected? FL waited until we reached the car. Yeah, he's real strong. As if he were an oracle, he continued. Just make sure that you take care of me when you blow up. Blowing up is what happened, and taking care of FL is what I did. I made sure FL shit was right every month. Whatever he needed, I broke him off. FL got busted and served about a year right after he made the connection, but when he got out, I broke him off real proper. JC didn't have any immediate action at the time we met, so I had to continue with my original plans of buying kilos from various people to keep my money flowing. A few weeks after meeting JC, I went and bought 15 kilos from one of my suppliers for $22,500 per kilo. One of my drivers had the kilos in the car in front of me, and I stayed on his bumper to make sure he didn't get pulled over. We caught a red light at the intersection of Alondra and Long Beach Boulevard. While we were sitting at the light, JC pulled up next to me. Keefe D, what's up? I've been looking for you. Well, you found me. What's up? He motioned for me to pull over to the side of the road. I told my driver to keep going to the stash house and put the load away. JC leaned his head into the ride and said, it's on. Oh, yeah? Follow me over to my dad's house. Once we arrived, he let me know. Big dog, I have kilos for 17,000 right now. My eyes widened. You bullshitting. I just bought 15 kilos for 22.5 from my guy. I did some quick mental math and calculated how much more I would make fucking with the Colombian. I'm gonna take this shit back. No, come roll with me real quick. Get somebody to ride with us. He didn't have to ask me twice. I got in touch with my brother, Lil Dog. I need you over here with the quickness. Lil Dog jumped into a Maxima, swooped me up, and we followed JC to a one-bedroom apartment. It was 15 minutes away in Hawthorne. JC unlocked the door, and we followed him into a practically empty apartment. He motioned for us to follow him into the kitchen. Once we got there, he started to open up all the cabinets. Each cabinet was filled with taped U-Haul boxes. All of them are yours. My brother and I were stunned as we stood staring at each other. Silence filled the kitchen. What? I acted like I didn't hear him. All of them are yours. Try to have the money within a month. There were 148 birds inside the cabinets. I used to buy 20 to 25 kilos at a time. JC hit me off with 148 birds on consignment like it was nothing. The shit blew my mind because things like that don't happen every day. At 17,000 apiece, that amounted to a little over 2.5 million. No problem. My mind was racing on how I was going to distribute the shit. But my thoughts crashed back down to the ground. I thought about the $337,500 I had just spent for 15 kilos at 22.5 per kilo from my old connect. My brother and I began filling the trunk of the Maxima with the birds and quickly realized there wasn't going to be enough room. So we put the last two boxes in the back seat of the car and took off. I got a hold of another one of my brothers who was out in Alabama with my partner C-Ray.
No, this is your fault, Sparkles. You wanted us to listen to this boring part. You asked us to listen. You did. She took my fast forward. You can fast forward. Okay, I'm going to play this. Come on, guy.
Aside from the jealousy, there was also racial shit still going on out there that would have led to me catching the case. One night, I stopped at a liquor store in Birmingham to buy me some Cristal. Fuck I do. Fuck you, cracker. My guys pulled me back out of the store. When we got outside in the parking lot, the Alabama nigga was like, man, they'll kill you down here. They'll hang you by. I cut that scary bullshit off. Nigga, I'll blow that motherfucking dude's dome off.
Hold on.
Where we from, we don't play that boy shit, homie. Our time in Alabama was over.
Hold
We
on.
relocated out of Alabama,
Hold on. We were
got scared and intervened. No, he doesn't mean that, sir. Yes, the fuck I do. Fuck you, cracker.
Hold on. Let's see what he's arguing with.
Can you give me 2 bottles of that and 2 bottles of that? As I pointed to the bottles I was interested in buying. The white guy behind the counter was like, hey, boy, can you afford these bottles? I couldn't believe my ear. What? Who the fuck are you talking to? You see a boy? Suck his dick. The nigga who was in the store with us from Alabama got scared and intervened. No, he doesn't mean that, sir. Yes, the fuck I do. Fuck you, cracker. My guys pulled me back out of the store. When we got outside in the parking lot, the Alabama nigga was like, man, they'll kill you down here. They'll hang you by. I cut that scary bullshit off. Nigga, I'll blow that motherfucking dude's dome off. Where we from, we don't play that boy shit, homie. Our time in Alabama was over. We relocated out of Alabama near the end of 91 and started hitting other cities where we already had folks. We hit up Little Rock, Arkansas, Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Atlanta, Georgia, Cleveland and Columbus, Ohio, and Baltimore, Maryland. Every spot we hit out of town, we made new Crip members. Southsiders to be exact.
Wow.
Our growth plan was simple. Move into places where we already had kinfolk or people we knew. They were doing light work, 5 kilos or something, and we made them an offer they couldn't refuse. You want to make some real money? We'd hit them with 50 kilos and make them the man. Here go 50. Give me 25,000 for each one. They'd sell them for 30,000, netting 5,000 each off of 50 kilos. That's a quick 250,000 for them, and I was still getting my bread.
Wow.
We always made sure to go through established people who were already in those areas. We were never stupid enough to attempt to take over other people's turf, start gang wars, or risk ourselves like that. My crew was not crazy, and I made sure we didn't do any stupid shit under my leadership. We knew better than to put ourselves out there on Front Street, because the local guys would get jacked.
Stevie Jones says this book is trash until the Tupac story and the end of getting up jammed up. Stevie, I tried to tell her she's the one who wanted us to listen to this. Oh, you want me to do Sydney Star? I was gonna go down there to Fulton County when the hearing comes on the 25th. I was gonna go down there. Yeah, I was gonna go down there. Stevie, blame Sparkle because I didn't want to listen to this part. I didn't want to listen to this part, but she got us listening to this part. Blame Sparkle, Stevie. Blame Sparkle.
Especially if you started having sex with their girls. I didn't mix business with pleasure. I kept my shit in my pants. 4.2 million monthly. I was able to thrive in the game for a while because there was a difference between the crew I put together.
This is
Quite a
boring.
good deal of ingenuity. Back in the day, I used to get mad when rappers like Ice Cube would say lines like, St. Louis niggas want their corners back. That was a line from the song My Summer Vacation from his 1991 Death Certificate album. To me, all Ice Cube transporting product and money. We used to mail chickens and cash through the mail, but we started having too many problems. One day, I lost $350,000 via the United.
Stevie is going in. Stevie saying nobody paying for the book to hear Keefe D story. Okay. Oh my God. We are not listening to this crap all the way.
United States Postal Service. The Post Office General and
Look
the
at this post
FBI
office.
delivered the package to my wife's relative. And when she signed for the package,
Oh, okay. We fast forward.
instead of calling me, Paula went over there to pick up the package. I advised her not to fuck with the package because there were too many red flags. I knew something was wrong because the box was scheduled for overnight delivery, but arrived 2 weeks late. Something was wrong, but she didn't call me before she went over there. About 45 minutes later, my wife's relative called me. Your thing here. The house they lived in sat off the main boulevard. So instead of making a turn, I kept straight up the road. Sure enough,
Okay,
better
let's-
plan.
We gotta keep going.
My
Hold on.
boy FL, once again, was instrumental as he came through and hooked me up with a lawyer who gave me some invaluable information. The lawyer's name was Jerry, and he suggested we rent vans to transport. But he stressed that whoever drove the van to make sure they didn't have their fingerprints on the birds. He advised us to take the panels out of the van and tape the packages to the walls. Then put the panels and covering back up.
Okay.
I mean, from Inglewood. Not long after he got busted, his little brother hit me up,
Oh gosh.
who's one of my closest friends. You and me gonna roll off of this. Stick with me every day. I want you to be my right-hand man. Uchi didn't say anything. He just nodded his head, so I thought he agreed with what I was saying. Half a kilo and let me go up there with Bubble Up. And then came back and reloaded again before Uchi and Bottomy took over.
We're on chapter
Uchi,
6 right now.
Give me my money. I got you, dog. Just give me my money. He was like, nah, I'm going to flip this. I said, man, give me my money.
Give
I
me
was
my
giving him
money.
a chance to do the right thing.
Give me my
He
money.
didn't know I already had another 100 kilos at the stash house and was ready to break him off for more. But the nigga wouldn't budge. Completely frustrated, I said, all right then, keep that. You can go ahead and keep that.
Okay, I'm
Come up
past
to me
one.
and say, I know you. I was quick to respond, you don't know me. You're Uchi's homeboy. I'm supposed to go out there tomorrow to see him. Where is he? Out there in Cleveland. And you're going out there tomorrow?
It's a boring.
C-Ray was in Cleveland. So I immediately got on my phone and asked him.
You know,
In the armor that I didn't pay too much attention to. Station of being a New York street dude. He was an intelligent, laid-back, good dude with a big heart. Zip knew everybody in New York.
this is Zip
In
part.
fact-
This is Zip.
Zip is the one who introduced me to Sean Puffy Combs back in 1991 or 92.
Okay, let's listen.
The two were very close friends. I met a few people from New York through Zip. About a year after our initial meeting, Zip came out to the West Coast and invited a few of us to a party they were having for Puffy at the El Rey Theater. At the time, Puffy was the talent director at Uptown Records, working with Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. About 8 or 9 of us took Zip up on his invitation and went to the party at the El Rey Theater with him. Zip was on the guest list, so he led us into the VIP section. That night, we met Jaleel Green Eyes from Houdini and Busta Rhymes. Zip brought us over to where Puffy was and made the introduction. These are my folks. We shook hands, and that was it. I could tell the nigga Puffy had a little swag, but he was like a young kid.
Didn't Jaleel pass away a couple of years ago? Didn't he? Because what's the name is the only one that's alive right now. I interviewed one of Houdini's people, and Jaleel. Was it Jaleel I interviewed? I gotta go back and look at my interviews.
To me. Back then, Puffy was broke, relatively speaking, because his music industry career was just getting started. I was the one with the big paper back then, filling up bathtubs with cases of bottles. They were still drinking that White Lightning, corn liquor from the bootleg houses in New York. I wasn't going for that shit. Stop by the bottle store, nigga. I was popping bottles. I was the one wearing glove-fitting Armani, Versace, Canali, and Brioni suits. I was rich when I met that motherfucker Puffy. I don't blame him, but meeting Puffy has been like a bad dream from which I'm still trying to wake up. I hate that I ever met that son of a bitch. My life has gone backward ever since. After that Vegas shit, the FBI shut me down on my ass. My days turned rainy fucking with Puff. Puff got in touch with me a few months after we met to see about renting one of my 64 lowriders for Usher's first video, Can You Get With It? I charged Puff $2,400 to use the lowrider for one day, set the car up in the Hollywood area on the tow truck, and had one of my partners stay up there with it. In the video, Usher was dancing on the hood and fucked up the paint, so they had to send me $4,400 to repaint it. Back then, the Southside Compton Car Club was a well-off Crip set with about 35 cars, jackets, plaques in the window, and everything. Several celebrities rented out cars for videos, including Marquise Houston, Melly Mel in his video with Redman, and Eazy-E. In the summer of '95, Zip came through the neighborhood and said, Puffy and
You know I love my Eazy-E, y'all. I loved Eazy-E. But he's gone. Rest in peace, Eazy-E.
them are having the Beat Summer Jam show tonight at Irvine Meadows. Y'all want to go? Cool, let's go. When we arrived at the venue, Zip took us through the VIP entrance where all the talent entered. It was a hell of a show. Tretch opened up, then Jodeci, then Mary J. Blige, then Junior Mafia, Biggie, then Puff, Faith, and Craig Mack. Biggie performed Dangerous, Juicy, and then brought the house down with One More Chance. You definitely got your money's worth at their shows with all the hits they were dropping. Our crew was 20 to 30 deep, and we were all up on the stage. Most of us wearing Dallas Cowboys gear, drinking bottles, and smoking weed. The performances took place on a rotating stage, and on one of the rotations, I spotted Suge standing over to one side. Suge appeared to me like he was getting jealous. Biggie had that hot-ass hit, One More Chance, which was the banger of the summer. Suge had Death Row Records, but they didn't have any big hits banging at the time. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see Suge looking at me. Then he gestured for me to come over to speak with him. Keefe D, let me holler at you. What's up, dog? Then Suge asked, man, how you know them? Nigga, the same way I know you. The dope game, that's how I know them. After the show that night, Puff gave an off-the-chain after party where he was the DJ. I didn't know the nigga could DJ like that. Not long after that show, the Source Awards happened. And that's when Suge made the controversial comment. Any artists out there that want to be an artist and stay a star and don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the records, dancing, come to Death Row. Wu-Tang and them were in the house deep and started booing. The beef was really with Wu-Tang, but I guess Suge seen them Wu-Tang niggas were some grown-ass men, so they went and picked on them youngsters from Junior Mafia. The beef wasn't with Junior Mafia. The niggas from Wu-Tang were the ones giving them a hard time. Soon after Suge's Source Awards comment, Zip came back in town. Zip must have orchestrated with Puff. I'm gonna be with Keefe D and them tonight. Cause Zip's phone rang as we were rolling down Greeley, and it was Puffy. He answered, hey, what's up, Puff? Yo, where's your boy Keefe D? I need to talk to him. He right here. Zip passed me his phone. Puffy wants to talk to you. What's up, dog? Man, we're about to do the BET tour. Then he paused. You think it's cool for us to come out there? I was kind of puzzled. Why wouldn't it be? Your boy, big CEO, he's tripping. He was talking about Suge. I didn't know that their two factions were having funk at the time. Something had happened in Atlanta where Big Jake from Campanella Park had gotten shot, supposedly by Wolfie, one of Puffy's bodyguards from New York. Our position was we weren't getting in the middle of that shit. I told Puff, just send me 40 to 50 tickets and we'll be in there deep at all your concerts. And that's what happened. Puffy would give us tickets to be at their Bad Boy West Coast shows. We went everywhere with them, fool. We'd meet up with them at the hotel, get the tickets, and go with them. I used to ride in the van with the nigga. Crips were backstage deep at most of those West Coast shows. When Suge got everybody in the music industry intimidated, I knew he was soft and didn't have a heart. Because I played Pop Warner football with the nigga. We didn't give a fuck about Suge and his crew. To us, they were Rudy Pools. We had been fighting all of our lives. Up until then, Suge was in college, hanging around rappers, perhaps punking rappers, but he couldn't punk real street dudes. He wasn't in the streets like that. He wasn't gonna do what real street niggas would do to your ass. The way it would work was Zip would fly out and meet us at different locations. Zip always knew where Puffy was staying because they were close. When it was time to get the tickets, we would meet up with them at the hotel. That year, on Halloween night, Bad Boy had a concert at the Anaheim Pond. I picked Zip up from the Long Beach airport, and about 12 of us went to the hotel where they were staying. When we got to Puffy's suite, Andre Harrell was in there, and there was a room full of Crips. We started drinking bottles, and the nigga Puffy came out of the bathroom butt naked with nothing but a towel wrapped around him. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking or trying to prove, but I would have never done any shit like that. Puffy was so scared during this time that he had hired ex-Navy SEALs wearing earpieces like they worked for the CIA in the hotel room right next to his suite. We were laughing our asses off. Them street niggas would have killed them SEALs fast as a motherfucker. It's a dirty game on these streets. SEALs play by the books. Street niggas don't. When it was time to head to the venue, I rode over in the hotel van with Puff and Zip. In the dressing room, they had a Kentucky Fried Chicken spread. The show that night featured Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Naughty by Nature, the whole Bad Boy crew, Craig Mack, Biggie, Little Kim, Total, 112, and Junior Mafia. When we got back from the concert, we were up in Puff's suite playing 456, also known as CeeLo on the East Coast, on a pan roll on the bed. It was Tretch, D-Mac from Mansfield, who was also Puff's college roommate at Howard University, Puff, and a few of the homies. Those niggas didn't know that shooting dice was my little hustle before I got started in the dope game. I was tearing their asses up. Arnell Simpson, O.J. Simpson's daughter, was dressed in a cat outfit that night and came in the room to see Tretch. That's when O.J. was going through his shit. Tretch told her to get on the bed and meow for him, baby. She kicked her leg up and started meowing like a pussycat. Those parties used to be off the chain. There were all kinds of drugs and shit being passed around, but we didn't fuck with drugs like that. A lot of those pimp dudes like Daune, Good Game and them, they were smoking crack and snorting cocaine. One dude was sitting down sniffing a mixture of heroin and cocaine called a speedball. I asked him, "The fuck are you doing?" He said, "This shit here is better than a nut." I had to tell him, "Nigga, you don't need nothing better than a nut. That shit doesn't go down out here like that. Crips ain't about that. The only thing we used was weed and drank a lot of bottles." One night, when Puff and Zip were in town, I got a call from Zip. "Yo, Puff said he needs to speak with you. Come to meet us at Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset." A few of my partners and I went down to meet Puff and Zip at Greenblatt's Deli and Fine Wines. The place sat between the strip club and the Laugh Factory on Sunset Boulevard. We went in through the back entrance and started smoking weed on the back patio. That evening, Ronald Isley, a.k.a. Mr. Biggs, and Angela Winbush pulled up in there driving a triple white Rolls Royce. The rag was white, the seats were white, and the interior was cocaine white. That thing was pretty. Miss Winbush had a white fur wrapped around her. They were supremely hard. Zip and Puff were double dating that night. Zip was with one girl, and they brought one of the girl's cousins that was actually from our neighborhood as a tag-along for Puffy. The girl from our neighborhood had the reputation of being loose, but Puffy didn't know that. We were all laughing at that fool because he was all hugged up and kissing her, but he didn't know the kind of girl she was back in the hood. A group of us went downstairs to place an order. I remember ordering a pastrami sandwich. Then I added, "Give me a couple of those Tattinger Rosé." Puff waved me over to step to the side with him. "I need to speak with you, big dog." We stepped off to the side where we were able to speak privately. Like a lion on the Serengeti, I'm able to smell and see fear. Puffy was full of fear. "What's up?" I asked. "I have a couple of problems I need to be handled. Big CEO and Pop." I looked at him in his eyes, and without hesitation, I responded, "That's not a problem. We can make that happen." After our brief convo, we went back upstairs and ate. He ate at the table with the broads, and I was with my folks. I didn't tell my guys what Puffy and I discussed while we were eating. I waited until we were in the car on the way home. The nigga Puffy wanted us to take care of Big CEO and Tupac. I bet the nigga would give us $1 million for those niggas' heads. While Puffy and Suge were in the midst of their ongoing feud, Tupac became a problem when he made that cold-ass diss song, "Hit 'Em Up." Pop ate them up with that song, and Puffy didn't like that. That diss song made Puffy mad, calling them gay like that. Wouldn't you be mad? At the end of that song, Tupac hit us too with that And if you want to be down with Bad Boy, then fuck you too. That shit made Southsiders mad. Even though he didn't name us, we took that as a dig to the South Side. Before the shit in Vegas happened, I ran into Tupac a few times. I can honestly say he seemed to be a cool guy. The first time I saw him was in 1989 at the Greek Theater where Flavor Flav and his crew Public Enemy performed, along with Digital Underground. Tupac was a part of the Digital Underground crew, doing his little part on stage wearing a diaper. We were near the front of the stage on the side. He came out with that punk-ass diaper on. One of the niggas I was with from Tragnew Park was bagging on his ass, talking about a grown man walking around in a diaper. We saw Tupac again at a house party in the Valley with a whole bunch of young black celebrities. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Tashina Arnold, Dwayne Martin and his wife, Tisha Campbell. Puffy and Tupac showed up at the party together. I don't know what the fuck was going on at that party, but I wasn't feeling too comfortable there, so we got the fuck up out of there. The next to last time we saw Tupac was when he got out of jail and came out with the record, California Love. Once again, Tupac had a line in that song, recognized from Long Beach and Rosecrans, which didn't sit right with Southsiders. Some Southsiders were up at the House of Blues on Sunset, and we ran into Tupac. He was up there with Big Syke from the Outlaws. The homie Oldie went up and grabbed Tupac by the collar and pushed him against the wall and said, "Nigga, you know what that Long Beach and Rosecrans stand for?" Big Syke spoke up. "Nah, homie, he just rapping on a song, homie. He don't know what's going on out here." Oldie warned him, "That's some Pyru shit. You better ease up on that shit, nigga." Pac had his chance. He should have learned his lesson then. Tupac mistakenly thought Suge and the Death Row crew they were rolling with were untouchable and would protect him. He seemed to have lost touch with the reality of the streets, that everyone can be touched. He didn't understand that we were high power. We did the shit he rapped about, for real. We weren't into that music industry shit. We were going up against real niggas in the streets every day of our lives. Unfortunately, the next time we would see Tupac would be September 7th, 1996, the fateful night in Las Vegas, Nevada, when Tupac and the crew he chose to run with crossed the line and put their hands and feet on my nephew, Baby Lane. Death Row. When my phone rang, I already knew who was calling and what it was about. "Nigga, I'm on parole. I can't be strolling up in no MDC." The Metropolitan Detention Center is a U.S. federal prison in downtown Los Angeles. I was expecting Bossman's call because the day before he had sent his broad to visit me. She came by the house and passed along his message. "Bossman wants you to go and visit him." I shared my concern with her. "Tell Bossman to give me a call." When my phone rang the next morning, I knew it was him. Bossman had become a big-time nigga on the streets, and if he was calling me to visit him, I knew it wasn't for no bullshit. In 1990, when the feds took Bossman down, they also took 41 people from his crew along with him. They confiscated all his shit, something like 26 cars, 13 Harley Davidsons, 4 businesses, 20-something houses, and $9 million in cash. My dilemma was that I was nervous as hell to visit the MDC because I was still on parole. I wasn't sure if I walked up in there, if I'd be free to walk out. After my opening comment, Bossman responded like he didn't hear a word I said. "Nigga, I got a plug up here. I need you to come up here and see me." He had said the magic word, plug. The next day, I pushed my nerves to the side and went to visit him. "Dog, I have 300 kilos out there that they didn't get. I need you to move them for me. You're the only one left out there." He continued, "I'm going to use the money to start this record company called Death Row. What you think?" Shit, I didn't know what to think. "Man, you know anything about the record business?" I asked. "No." "You want to be the head of it?" he asked. "Hell no. I don't know nothing about the record business either. Just give me the dope." "You think it's going to work?" he wondered aloud. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but I had to keep it real. "I don't think so, dog. Just giving you my true opinion. As far as moving the dope, though, I'll make that happen." Don't worry about nothing, I assured him. My crew and I did the footwork, got rid of all 300 kilos, and delivered the money where it needed to go. There have been books and documentaries about the inner workings of Death Row Records once it got started. I have nothing to say about any of that, the good or the bad. What I do have firsthand knowledge of is that the money for Death Row Records came from real street niggas. Boss Man was the real nigga that put the money up for Death Row Records. I don't know how Harry O got involved. I know Harry O was locked up in MDC at the same time as Boss Man. Both of them had drug cases at the same time. But I know Boss Man was the central player in that shit. I know that as an indisputable fact. That's how Suge got into it, because my boy had a couple of houses in Suge's hood. Boss Man had his girl running things for the record company, but she was only 19 years old, a fucking kid. She didn't know anything about the record business. Boss Man told me, I need you to buy my broad a car so she can handle her business. Okay, cool. I was looking for a Maxima or a Honda Accord. She came back with, Boss Man said for you to buy me a Benz. Bitch, I ain't even got a Benz. That's why he's locked up now with that Benz shit. I went on and copped her the Benz. Boss Man and I ended up falling out over some dumb shit. His broad came over to my place one day with some white guys telling me to give her some money. I recall some game one of my advisors once told me, bitches are like white boys. They will tell on your ass. I never forgot that. I said, bitch, first of all, you don't have no business bringing white people to my house. What, you want me to be Boss Man's cellmate? What the fuck are you trying to do? I guess she relayed what I told her back to Boss Man. He must not have liked that shit. Not only did me and my crew put the work in to get the money up to start Death Row, but one day Suge called me. He was trying to get in touch with Eazy-E, who along with Dr. Dre and MC Ren were all from the neighboring Compton Crip set, Kelly Park. Eazy-E used to sell dope with my brother, and my brother would go out on tour with NWA. We used to cook dope at his mama's house. I remember when Eazy-E first started and he used to be on the turntables and I'd be like, what the fuck is that? It used to sound terrible. Then, when I was in the pen, this fat nigga came over and was like, man, that nigga Eric Wright is rolling. He started rapping, cruising down the street in my 6'4". I started cracking up. Suge and I both knew Eazy because Eazy was in a dope game. Suge tried to influence Eazy to be on Death Row. Eazy-E was like, nope, I'm sticking with Ruthless. Suge called me that day to ask me to help him get Dr. Dre's number. I didn't know Dre personally, but I made a few calls and got Dre's number for him. Next thing I know, he convinced Dre to come to Death Row. Boss Man helped persuade Dre because they had a lot of money to play with. Eazy-E was throwing those little $70,000 checks around. Death Row had millions. When you cook that water, you're an automatic millionaire. It's a big difference in the level of money when you prepare that water. When I heard the song Deep Cover, the first shit Death Row released, I was genuinely happy for them Compton niggas. About a year later, Death Row Records blew up, and the rest is history. They came up and became one of the most influential independent record labels, generating hundreds of millions of dollars. They had some of the biggest names in hip-hop history: Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac. Dr. Dre was smart and got away from that bullshit at the right time. And now he's one of the wealthiest guys in hip-hop. Dre saw that Suge and them were feuding with his homies, going against the hood when they were supposed to be making millions. I don't know what possessed Suge to get himself into something that he didn't have any business. I'll never understand why the nigga Suge would wait to reach 100 million to become a gang member. Don't be surprised by the collaboration that existed and the part I willingly played in helping to get Death Row off the ground. Keep in mind, at that time, things were cool between Suge and me. Remember, Suge was not a known blood back then. He was a college student. Trust me, I would have known. The generation of Crips that I come from is different than this new generation of Crips. When we were young, we were so dangerous that Bloods couldn't even wear red around us because Bloods were our sworn rivals. Colors mattered to us more than the Union blue and the Confederate gray. The fighting between us was almost as fierce. If we saw somebody wearing red, we would make a U-turn and get their ass. No questions asked. It's calmed down a lot now, but in my generation, Crips were vicious, and people knew it. The first time I had a conflict with any of Suge's death row people was at a video shoot for a group Suge was working with called the 6ix9ine Girls at a mansion in Hidden Hills. Sergeant Reynolds, who was a Compton police officer but moonlighted doing private security for death row, was out in front of the gate wearing his right-way security gear. We had previous run-ins with Reynolds in Compton, and we didn't know it then, but we were going to have more costly run-ins with him in the future. Reynolds was like, "Y'all ain't getting in. I don't know why the fuck y'all came all the way out here." We were about 4 carloads deep. We were at the bottom of the hill and needed to go up the hill where there was a gate to get in. I saw this girl from Compton that I knew and I yelled, "Hey, tell Suge to come down here." After a few minutes, Suge came walking down the hill. Suge asked, "Who all with y'all?" "All of us," as I turned to look over my shoulder at the crew I was rolling with that night. He turned to Reynolds and said, "Let them all in." We were clowning Reynolds' ass as we rolled past the entry gate, headed up the hill. We were in there partying, watching the video shoot. Then Suge and I got to talking about hooking up and doing some stuff together. Suge took a puff on the cigar he was holding, tilted his head up, and blew out the smoke. He said, "Man, if we ever hook up, we're going to be on top of the world." I thought to myself, bitch, we're already on top. He did make some good points about how dominant our team would have been if we would have joined forces. The video shoot started outside by the swimming pool, then moved inside. We were all standing by the stairs. And when I began to walk up the stairs, this tall-ass girl, she had to be at least 6'1", started tripping. I'm not sure if as I started to walk up the stairs, I brushed up against her ass or something, but if I did, it wasn't intentional. The girl turned as I walked by and said, "This is death row, motherfucker," as if that was supposed to mean something to me. Bitch, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Suge shut her down quick. Bitch, shut up. I don't understand why she chose to fuck with me. Of all the people I was with, I was the worst one for her to say that stupid shit to, because I really didn't give a fuck. If she knew who I was, she wouldn't have said that ignorant shit. A couple of months later, one night while we were hanging out at the Luna Park Club on Robertson and Santa Monica Boulevard, we ran into that same girl with her crew of girls. I knew I would run into her one day. "You remember me, bitch? This is Death Row, motherfucker." I was with some Southsiders and Grape Streets. Those girls got their asses beat up in there that night.
Beat up.
I don't know if the girl ran back and told Suge, "Those Southside niggas beat us up," but it didn't matter to me either way. The next time I saw Suge, a few months later, there was about 50 Crips, Southsiders, Nutty Blocks, and Grape Streets, kicking it in front of the Palencia Club on Sunset Boulevard, right across the street from the Roxy. Suge, Tupac, and Snoop rolled up, each in a different colored Rolls Royce. Suge led the way in a candy apple red Rolls Royce with a matching red Godfather hat. Snoop's was black, and Tupac was driving a white one. "Keefe D, what's up?" Suge shouted. All the Crips were like, "Damn, cuz," clowning me like that's Keefe's boy. Suge double parked and jumped out. "Hey man, it's cracking in there?" "Nah, not really. If y'all want some action, let's go to Club Paradise." Club Paradise was a little club on Hyatt in Santa Monica. Back then, the term ratchet wasn't invented. But if it had been, most of the bitches in Club Paradise would have qualified. The girls in Club Paradise would suck a nigga's dick right on the dance floor. People would be screwing in the bathrooms, straight hood rat shit. And I let Suge and them know that. The decision was made to go by Club Paradise to see if it was popping. I was riding in the car behind Tupac. There were crowds of people on both sides of the street, and when we hit the corner, somebody shot up Suge's red Rolls Royce. I thought he was dead. His Godfather hat was lying in the street. Suge probably felt that we had something to do with that, but we didn't have anything to do with that shit. Southside was not one of the bigger sets in terms of numbers, but we were proud.
So Suge's car has been shot up a couple of times then, huh? They said the Rolls Royce was shot up, but it wasn't them. But then the BMW is the one that they were in, right? The night where Tupac was unalive.
Close-knit family that took care of our own on every level and knew how to handle our business. One of my little homeboys named Victor, who was a major high school football player at Dominguez High School, had received a scholarship to play college football for a Pac-10 homeboy to be one of the most fly dudes on that whole campus. Henry was on his way to the mall. One of the other guys started having seizures, and the other routine incident in the life of real street niggas. With Lee, was also a Crip, came over when he heard the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. So going to Las Vegas was routine for me. We knew that Suge would have his hit squad of dirty police with him. They were some cold motherfuckers. But we were some street dudes, so we weren't worried about that bullshit. The way we looked at it, they were recording industry dudes, but we were real street niggas. September 4th through 7th, 1996, was supposed to be another weekend excursion like the many we had taken before. Little did I know, this trip to Vegas, unlike the ones before, would change my life. We left Compton for Vegas on Thursday afternoon around 1 o'clock. Everybody met up at my house and we split from there. Before we hit the road, we had to keep with our established tradition of going to Greenblatt's Deli and Fine Wine on Sunset to get some chilled bottles of champagne, just the way I like them. Even though Zip was from New York, he liked to roll with us when we went to Vegas for events. So he arranged to meet us at Greenblatt's. We purchased 2 cases of Taittinger Rosé at $150 per bottle. That Taittinger Rosé worked like Viagra for me. We also picked up a few bottles of Dom Perignon Rosé. Once we stocked up on our cold bottles, we were ready to hit the road. My wife Paula and I were driving in a rented beige 1993 Buick Regal. Riding in a green van was my brother Little Dog, Fat Man, and Trey. Zip and the female rapper Foxy Brown were in a black 500 series Benz. We rolled up a few fat joints with some California orange weed, jumped onto the 10 freeway, hit the 15, and jammed all the way out there. Frankie Beverly's Silky Smooth, Before I Let Go, got us started, and we played hit after hit for the trip soundtrack. The Dramatics, Luther Vandross, Shaka Khan, the OJs, Anita Baker, the Isley Brothers. I wasn't a big fan of gangster rap since I was living that gangster life. They were rapping about what I did every day. Instead, we cruised to Vegas the whole trip, listening to nonstop classic R&B.
Dallas.
We arrived at the newly opened Caesars Palace Resort and Casino around 5 p.m. It was a huge place with all the amenities you could think of and a massive casino floor, which was perfect since all of us loved to gamble. We laid our heads in the Caesars Palace, but for partying, kicking back, and meeting up, we would always get some rooms at the Carriage House. The Carriage House was about a block off the strip, but it was cool because they had suites with kitchenettes where you could cook your food. The night we arrived at Caesars Palace, we laid back, popped a few bottles, went down to the casino, and started gambling big. We was betting $1,000 a roll, having a ball, doing what players do. I gave my wife $2,500, and she went out with a few of the ladies who had traveled down with us. When it was time to be with us, they were with us. But they did their separate girl stuff, shopping, gambling, and sitting by the pool. On Friday, my nephew Baby Lane and some of my little homies came down and kicked it with us. Baby Lane was about 6'3", with an athletic build. He was slim but muscular, a one-punch knockout master. He was a good dude with a big heart. He'd give the shirt off his back to anybody in need, and he loved life. In all, we were down there about 18 deep. We rented 3 rooms on the same floor at Caesars Palace and had a ball. For the major events, not only would we be out there gambling and partying hard, but we would also do like Missy Elliott's song and get super duper fly. Once we gambled a bit, I headed over to the Versace store in the shopping wonder of the world, also known as the Forum Shops at Caesars Palace. I purchased a $3,000 blue suit with white pinstripes, some blue Crocs from the Gucci store, and a white shirt, the blue and gold tie. I went to Cousins Fine Tailoring and had them tailor my suit up for me. We went to Neiman Marcus and picked up some of that expensive-ass Indian cologne that has a different smell every time you put it on. When my nephew, Baby Lane, came down with his homies, he saw former MLB baseball player Barry Bonds with a badass brown Versace tuxedo. So, Baby Lane, being the baller that he was, went out and bought a black version of the same 6,000 Versace tux he saw Barry Bonds wearing. Some people have a hard time understanding how we were living. When they hear the word Crip, they imagine somebody with their pants sagging beneath their butt. But what they fail to realize is once a gangbanger becomes a gangster, you pull your pants up. There's a difference between gangbangers and gangsters. We were gangsters. One year, we went to Ice-T's New Year's Eve party, and we were so fresh, smelling so good, we had our bottles in our hands. Ice-T was like, those are some real players right there. That night, I was wearing a $2,500 cashmere overcoat over my suit. Fight night finally arrived. I sat on the second row, not far from some of the celebrities that were in the house. Since I had purchased the fight tickets from a scalper buddy, our seats were spread out all around the arena. We had decided before we went in that when the fight was over, we would all meet at the cafe inside the MGM. Once the fight started, it didn't take long for Iron Mike to put Bruce Seldon's lights out. Mike put him down on the canvas for the first time with about 1 minute 40 seconds left in the first round. Then less than 20 seconds later, the fight was over. TKO. After the match, we headed to the prearranged meeting place where we waited for about 15 minutes. Little by little, everybody started showing up, except my nephew. Then, some 118 East Coast Crips came and told us that they saw some death row niggas jump on my nephew down by the casino. We came to find out later that the same dude from the Lakewood Mall that got his chain snatched was walking with Tupac when they saw Baby Lane in the lobby of the MGM. We rushed up out of the cafe and went to find Baby Lane. We saw him inside the MGM minutes after they had jumped him. By the time we got there, Suge, Pac, and their crew had already left. Baby Lane's shoulder was a little messed up. But other than that, he was all right. When I asked him what happened, he said, them death row niggas rushed me. One of them niggas from the Lakewood Mall was running with that boy that started that shit. A few East Coast Crips came over and asked if we wanted them to go with us. Nah, we're good. We'll handle our shit, but good looking out. We appreciated their offer, but this was a matter we were determined to handle ourselves. We couldn't let no record company studio gangsters do us like that. Had they lost their fucking rapping ass minds? On top of that, Puffy had already talked to me about helping him out with the problem he was having with them niggas. That was a double whammy. Then you add on top of that the fact that we helped Suge with the money to get his record business going, and the nigga gonna bite the hands that fed him? Add insult to injury because Suge still hadn't paid Boss Man his money back. Got too big for his britches and stopped taking Boss Man's calls. Strike 3, homie. You're out.
So he had his own vendetta. This had nothing to do with Puff. He had his own vendetta with Suge.
Fuck that big homie. We know where them niggas gonna be. They gonna be at Club 662. Their rage was evident, ignited upon learning that my nephew, Baby Lane, had gotten jumped. How y'all know? I calmly asked. Them niggas been on the radio out here for weeks, talking about a death row after fight party at Club 662. That nigga Pac's supposed to be there. Club 662 was a Las Vegas nightclub owned by death row CEO Suge Knight. The intelligence was from reliable sources, as some of the younger homies from our set have been stationed in Vegas selling dope. A satellite operation of sorts. All right, homies, I commanded. That's where we're going then. Club 662. As we headed to our vehicles. Southside had not gone down to Vegas thinking about marrying Suge Knight or Tupac Shakur. We were out there to do what we had been doing in Vegas for years. Eat, drink, and be merry. When conversations would come up about $1 million bounty on the heads of Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur, that was business. But after Tupac, Suge, and them death row niggas jumped on my nephew Baby Lane, the shit became ominously personal.
You hear that, right?
While we were waiting for the valet to bring out our cars, Zip seized the opportunity and called me over to his Benz. Zip was a big-time New York player, pimp, and hustler who used to come out to California to handle his business and kick it with us sometimes. As I walked up to the driver's side window, I noticed that the rapper Foxy Brown was in the car with Zip. So he instructed her to step out of the car and motioned for me to jump in.
We heard that part.
Zip had a hidden compartment that he opened up, reached in, and pulled a black 40 Glock out. He turned to me and said, "It's time to get the money." Zip handed me the 17-shot pistol, which I promptly put down the back waist of my pants. I hopped out of the car, held the door open for Foxy Brown to get back in, closed the door, and they pulled off. "Get in the car you came in. Let's roll," I shouted as our cars came out from the valet. We left immediately from the MGM parking lot and headed directly to Club 662. I was still appropriately dressed in my Ray Luca crime story suit, since there was about to be a real-life crime story. We pulled into the back parking lot of Club 662, where the talent and VIPs entered. In front of the club, there was a long line of excited, drunk people waiting to enter the club. I planned to confront Suge. "Hey, nigga, why the fuck y'all jump on my nephew?" The ironic thing is, I had just seen Suge in Vegas the night before the fight. He and members of his death row crew were rolling in their Rolls Royces. We greeted each other and everything. "What's up, big dog? What's up?" We were both major players in the same game. Suge had the music industry. I had the streets. We both had the same boss. If Suge and them niggas had a beef with something Southside had done, Suge could have said something to me when he saw me that night. Instead, Suge and his boys committed the ultimate disrespect when they kicked and beat down my nephew, Baby Lane, in a video broadcast on news stations seen around the world. In case my diplomatic approach to resolving the situation didn't work, we had 3 vehicles, 3 to 4 people in each, ready to burn their asses up. My crew was do or die. All my young homies had already been shot at least once, so their street experience turned them into some stone cold killers. They had the mentality of, it's either them or me, and it ain't gonna be me. With solemn faces, we waited in complete silence in the back parking lot of Club 662 for more than an hour. Inside our vehicles, nobody took a drink. There was no weed, no music, not a peep. We were as grave as a heart attack. The only thing audible was niggas breathing and tense, throbbing heartbeats. There was no need for words. We all understood why we were there. We waited for an hour and a half, which felt more like 4 hours. I decided for us to get the fuck out of there. I called the homies on their phones. They're taking too damn long. Let's get fucked up. Move out. One by one, the drivers started their engines and slowly crept out of the back parking lot. Lucky for them, they never showed up, because it would have been like Al Capone's Valentine's Day Massacre if they had. One thing about our crew, when it was time to handle business, we handled it with the best of them. And when it was time to have fun, we did that too. It's not that we were over what had happened to Baby Lane. It's just we couldn't control when them niggas were going to show up. Waiting so long was stopping us from doing what we had gone to Vegas to do in the first place. Have a good time. Our next destination was the Carriage House, a Las Vegas hotel where we had rented a few rooms as a kickback spot. On the way to the Carriage House, we stopped by the...
Stevie, you thinking the same thing? Look what Keefe said. Look what Stevie said. He says, I didn't think it was this detailed. He might be cooked. I said the same thing. Stevie, I said the same thing. I said the same thing. Wait till you hear about the whole part where the shooting part. Wait till you hear that part. I said the same thing. Okay, let's go.
Liquor barn to buy some bottles of Dom Perignon Rose, and Cristal. As we were driving to the liquor barn, it became evident that the guys in the van with me were worried that Suge would get some of his police hitmen to come back and try to kill us if we went after them. The police do hits for that nigga, one of them said. I remember thinking to myself, y'all shouldn't have jumped y'all punk asses in here if you're scared. Y'all know what we came here to do. C-Ray was one of my top salesmen and later became the first one to start snitching on niggas, was in the van with me, along with his cousin Trey and BMS Big Meech out of Detroit. As we were loading up to leave the liquor barn,
You hear
I
this?
took advantage of the chance to get away from them scary niggas in the van.
You hear this?
I jumped in the front passenger seat of the Cadillac because I knew the niggas in the caddy wasn't with that bullshit. I pulled out the Glock that Zip gave me and tossed it in the back seat. Bubble Up did the driving. Baby Lane and Freaky were riding in the back. After our pit stop at the liquor barn, we continued towards the carriage house. As we were driving, the two vehicles that were with us got caught at the traffic light. We kept rolling. A few blocks down, we were sitting at the light, and who the fuck did we see? The Death Row Caravan hit the corner with Tupac hanging out of the window of a black luxury BMW waving to his fans. People on the streets were screaming, "Tupac, Tupac, we love you, Tupac." In unison, all of our heads turned.
Oh my God.
There them motherfuckers go right there. If Pac had not been hanging out of the window,
You hear
we
this?
would have never seen him. Buster you, Buster you.
He told him to bust you.
Bubble Up busted a U-turn and hit the gutter lane on their asses. As they sat in traffic, we slowly rolled past the long line of luxury cars they had in their caravan. We were on a mission, looking into each one,
You see?
until we pulled up to the front vehicle and found who we were seeking. Like two rams locking horns, Sugar and I looked each other dead in the eye, our eyes locked. The terrified expression on Suge's face read, "Damn, them niggas." No words exchanged. The time for talking had passed. The shit was about to go down. The next few seconds all happened so quickly. The shit was on.
You hear?
Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath his seat.
Look.
It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to the police command, "Keep your hands where I can see them." Instead,
You hear this?
Pop pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. The
Confess.
guys from the back seat grabbed a Glock and started busting back. First shot skinned Suge in his head. I thought the motherfucker was dead. I heard stories that Suge supposedly used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying. But that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded. He was the first one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I dug down so that I wouldn't get hit. When the shooting stopped, we boned out and a white Chrysler Sebring full of young ladies was following us. Their window quickly got shot out, so they stopped. The interesting thing to me was, with all them rough-ass niggas they were supposed to have with them, none of them did a damn thing and tried to come after us. There were a lot of shots let off in both directions. I don't know why the Vegas police didn't check Tupac's hands for powder burns to see if he was shooting, because the car we were in was shot the fuck up. I don't understand why people act like Tupac was an angel. Shit, the nigga had busted on some off-duty cops in Atlanta a few years earlier, so he wasn't scared to bust. On top of that, by the time
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard. You heard it. You have heard it now, Stevie. You heard it. The confession. They killed him. They killed him. Even though he said he dug down, he wasn't looking and all that. They killed the man. He was in the car that did the killing. He's accessory to the crime. And since everybody else is dead, he's the one going to, he's the fall guy, right? I mean, he's the one gave the direction. He's the one said, "Go here, turn, make a Yui." Did he not? He was the boss.
when we rolled up, he had to know the person they jumped on in the casino was a Southside Crip. So they had to be on high alert. When the shots settled, a couple of people in our car had fragments and glass in their hair, but none of us had been hit.
You hear this, right?
The strip was in an uproar as police cars.
He even added the part where a random car was following them, who even makes that up if he weren't there. Exactly.
And ambulances raced to the scene. Somehow, Suge, instead of driving straight to Memorial Hospital, he did some studio gangster shit. He made a U-turn back onto the Las Vegas Strip. Confident that the death row crew and the police would be looking for the car that we were driving, we abandoned the car and got away from it quickly.
Did you hear that? They abandoned the car and got away from the car. He told y'all, we already know what is the jury going to say after they hear this book, y'all? What is the jury going to say? Guilty.
And some shit you see on the Twilight Zone, we scurried to get to the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard. When we got to the middle divider, the light changed to red, and we had to wait on the median. As we were standing on the median, waiting to cross Las Vegas Boulevard, 2 ambulances passed by right in front of where we were standing with their sirens blaring. The first ambulance passed by with Tupac in it and the medics working frantically to provide medical attention. A second one, not too far behind, had Suge in it. There we were, looking right into the ambulances transporting Tupac and Suge to Memorial Hospital. Everyone knows the rest of the story. At 6 days...
No, I heard the book is being admitted, pretty chick. This is what, here we go. I have it right here. They said the book is going to be admitted. They didn't say some parts are not going to be admitted. They said the book was going to be admitted. What they did say, hold on, let me show you what they, let me show you that. Look what it says right here. It says that a Las Vegas judge said a 2019 book by the man accused of orchestrating the murder of Tupac Shakur was allowed, denying an attempt to suppress evidence in the high-profile murder case. And his attorney filed 3 motions to dismiss evidence, including the 2019 book written by Davis and recorded interviews. So, as for the 2019 book and interview recording, staff started to read from a 40-page motion to dismiss it evidence, but they're not going to dismiss it, y'all. The judge said sided with the prosecutor that the book 2019 book was admissible, but she said she took issues with the recording conduct of the police by the police of Davis. It's the investigation part. They're not going to let that come in. So that's it, y'all. The book is in. So if you were on the jury and you heard this book, what would you do? He should take a plea deal. He should take a plea deal. But the plea deal is 20 years. Remember, he said he's going to die anyway, so he might as well fight it. Oh, well.
Later, Tupac died as a result of his injuries. The moral of the story? Real gangsters are nothing to fuck with. It's a ruthless way of life, one that I've lived for the majority of my life. Some gangster rappers have glamorized and glorified the life like it's cool and something to strive for. They have a lot of people's minds twisted. The truth of the matter is, gangbanging and acting like a thug ain't no joke. These street wars taking place in urban communities around the country are as real as the wars that U.S. troops are engaged in around the world. In some cases, the streets' body counts are even higher. For us, Vegas was another day at the office. It may sound cold-hearted, but from a street perspective, the killings of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls would be considered nothing more than collateral damage.
Okay. Stevie, you heard it. The prosecutor said it would last 4 weeks. They might use other evidence they collected over the past 30 years. Well, he might as well just take a plea deal. Wouldn't you not waste the people's money? So, my darlings, I have to end it right here. I have to end it right here because I got to get ready for work. So tomorrow we'll finish the rest. Do I have an update on Puff? Hold on a second, Stevie. Hold on. I did reach out when you were in the chat talking to someone. I haven't gotten a response back yet. I know you had asked about was he still in the shoe, but I don't know yet. I'm trying to find out now. I just text. Okay. Okay, I gotta go now, y'all. We'll come back tomorrow around this time and continue this the rest of the book, okay? TMZ just posted he spent 8 months on his defense attorney in his criminal trial. It was a steal. If I was him, I would take the plea deal. I would too. Okay, sounds good. Have a good day. See you later. Yes. Thank you so much for playing this. You're welcome. Who spent $8 million? Puff? All right, guys. I'm about to go, Stevie, once I get back tomorrow, I'll let you know if I got any update, okay? But in the meantime, good people, I gotta go. I can't stay on here. I gotta go to work. Yeah. Bye, y'all. Good night. Good day. And my night crew will be riding together tonight. But tonight, I come home at 10. So I might continue it after I come home tonight. If you guys up to it, I'll continue playing it. But I'll see you guys later, okay? Love y'all. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my my pains. We're family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night.